Over 100,000 people for the 204th straight time. A sellout crowd. This is Michigan Stadium. For 81 years, this has been the home to the Wolverines. And for most of those 81 years, this banner they're about to unfurl has been a sign of intimidation to opposing teams coming into the Big House. It's been more like a white flag, quite frankly, in the first 2 weeks of the season because Michigan's allowed 73 points and over 1,000 yards of offense. And they're 0-2. And for the first time in the history of this series that dates back to 1887, both these teams are 0-2. Both are unranked. Here come the Wolverines, and Bob Greasy, the bleeding's got to stop for one of these teams today.
Well, Brad, this is a Michigan team that last year won its first 11 ball games and has since lost 4 straight. If they're going to turn that around here today, it will be without their senior quarterback, Chad Henne, who is out with a leg injury. That means that true freshman quarterback Ryan Mallett makes his first collegiate start. Make no mistake about it, though. If they're to win, running back Mike Hart has to lead the way. Paul, what's it like over there?
Bob, yesterday Notre Dame got some bad news. They boarded the bus at 2:30. Well, Demetrius Jones, the backup quarterback, he didn't show up, and he is enrolled in Northern Illinois. So that means that freshman Jimmy Clausen will be the quarterback through the entire game. With the worst offense in all of college football, they have not scored even a single touchdown on offense. And I'll tell you what, talking to Charlie Weiss yesterday, Charlie said to me, he said, let me tell you something. We are taking the gloves off of Clausen. He is now going to open this offense up. It's his. Bonnie?
Well, Paul, I can tell you to no surprise there is unrest among the masses here in the stands. Disgruntled Michigan fans want to know when Lloyd Carr is going to win the big game, or how about a game? And the Irish faithful are wondering about Charlie Weiss and all of his offensive genius, how the running game has produced just -8 yards the entire season. This game has begun to resemble a train wreck. You don't want to look, but you can't help but watch. Michigan, Notre Dame, which team will turn the jeers to cheers? Kickoff is next.
Despair, defeats, and now desperate.
We'll win next week. There's no question in my mind. I guarantee we win next week. Coaches are going to do their job. Seniors are going to do this job in this team, and we're going to win next week. I don't care.
Well, I can't be worrying about Hart. I got to be worrying about the guys that are going to be sitting in this room.
It doesn't matter what they do defensively. The focus is on us.
There is nothing that can keep me down. Not a loss to Appalachian State, not a loss to Oregon, not 100 losses.
The guarantees are over. The talk is done. Now Notre Dame and Michigan are simply looking for win number 1. ESPN's college football on ABC, presented by Best Buy. And the house is indeed rocking right now as it's the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and the Wolverines of Michigan for the 35th time. And a sellout crowd here at the Big House in Ann Arbor. Jimmy Clausen, the man of the hour, as will be Ryan Mallett for Michigan. Mike Hart, one of the captains, with Jake Long out there as well, and those two guys are the leaders. And Crable, number 2, Zibikowski, number 9 for Notre Dame. Two proud programs who are trying desperately just to find one win to get some confidence for the rest of their season. So the coin toss at midfield. Dan Capron is our referee. And it appears that Notre Dame has won the toss. So Notre Dame won the toss, and they're going to take the football first. So they're going to put it in the hands of their freshman quarterback. And Mike Hart, who is guaranteed victory, talked with us about the mood of this Michigan team this week.
I think we're focused. We're definitely focused. I think we've been relaxed. It's not too serious. I don't think you can get too serious about things. That's when you start switching things around. But I think we've had a nice balance of being relaxed and being serious.
I think it's probably, most of you know, one of the big 3, Mike Hart, Jake Long, Chad Henne, who all decided to come back for their senior year because they wanted another shot at Ohio State. They wanted another shot at a Big Ten crown and maybe a national championship. And now all of that, at least the national championship part, is down the drain. And now they've got to put their confidence in number 15.
The butterflies are a size of buzzards right there in that young man.
Tell you what, I'm not so sure I didn't have butterflies when I thought the team was going to run me over a couple of minutes ago.
By the way, how did you do?
I did okay, I think. We just about lost our lead man coming up the stands there, but we made it through. First meeting was 1887. Michigan leads 19-4. There has been a tie. As I mentioned on the field a couple minutes ago, first time ever these two teams get together and are unranked. But that's why people probably are tuning in today, to see who goes to 0-3. Brian Wright's got it teed up. Golden Tate and Junior Jabby are back deep for Notre Dame. This is Golden Tate, a yard in. Tate got whacked at about the 17-yard line. Nice coverage down there. Stevie Brown made the tackle on the special teams. So here's the guy everybody's been talking about really since he was about a sophomore in high school, to be honest with you. 8th freshman, I should say, since 51 to start at quarterback for Notre Dame. And of course, Rick and Casey, both his brothers, played in the SEC at Tennessee. So Jimmy Clausen.
Look at this, spread offense.
Yep, how about that, huh? High snap, way back near the goal line, and Clausen's got to go down there at the 1.
That's all Michigan has seen the last 2 weeks is spread offense. Notre Dame doesn't use it as their base. They come out in it today.
You know, we talked about this last week. Reese was saying, you know, do you go and do something that you don't normally do?
Well, this is not the normal quarterback.
That's Armando Allen.
Yes, the freshman, and the snap goes right over his head.
So he has to down it at the 1, and now Jimmy Clausen's in there, and he's in a tough spot in his own end zone with a crowd in his ear. Allen in motion. They fake it to him, and now it's an end around coming the other way to Tate. Well, talk about opening up the offense.
I'll say.
An end around from the 1-yard line, getting out to about the 5. Well, we talked with John Carlson, the offensive captain, about Jimmy Clausen starting at quarterback.
It doesn't really matter how old he is. If he's capable of making plays and of just mentally handling the position, it doesn't matter if he's a freshman or a fifth-year senior.
Let's see how he handles 3rd and 23 from his own end zone. Pass is tipped. Attempted screen pass. He's going to get the football in great shape. Notre Dame's going to have to punt from the end zone.
Charlie Weiss, very conservative last week with Jimmy Clausen against Penn State at Penn State. Said he was going to take the gloves off, open it up. I'll say he did. First series, you gamble on a couple of them that didn't work out. Now Michigan's got the momentum.
Greg Matthews should be able to field this punt on the Notre Dame side of midfield.
I'll tell you what he does have. He's got old Michigan thinking. He really does.
Price to kick. Nice punt. Hung it up there high for Matthews at the 45. No fair catch. Got by the first guy. And then he swarmed under by those white jerseys of Notre Dame. So they will start the series, that being Michigan, in Notre Dame territory. After a bad snap and end around, and now it's Ryan Mallett's turn. 6'7", 252-pound freshman out of Texarkana, Arkansas, or Texas, depending on if you want to talk about his hometown or his high school.
Well, I think the street runs right down the middle of Texarkana. One side is in Texas, where he went to high school. The other side is in Arkansas, where he lives.
Let's see about those butterflies or those buzzards on the first play of the game for him in his first start. At the Notre Dame 43. Hart, the tailback, 3 wide receivers. He dropped the snap. Got it back, and he's going to be buried. Bob, we talked about this the other day. The first thing you have to do, get the football in your hands.
Well, that is so true. And this young man didn't take a lot of snaps from center when he was in high school. He took a lot from the shotgun. Look at the left-handed center. That's Boren, the left-handed center. They were having problems. You may see the left guard Krause and Boren switch positions just because Krause is an ex-center and he is a right-handed snapper.
And it didn't seem to bother Chad Henne, but for some reason it has given some trouble to Ryan Mallett. You see the left-handed snap of Justin Boren. 2nd down 11. Mallett, quick throw out, got his man, nice move. And still on his feet, Mike Hart. And Mike's inside the 35. Let's check the Michigan offense and the guy that was a pretty good quarterback here and still is in the NFL, Brian Griese.
The road to redemption starts today in Ann Arbor. Michigan offense is going to be led by Ryan Mallett, freshman from Texarkana, Texas, home of Nathan Vasher and Rod Smith. The heart and soul of this offense is Mike Hart. Good things come in small packages. And on the offensive line, Jake Long is the guy to watch.
All right, Brian, all that money with the Bears, and you need a haircut.
He didn't Hart.
First down.
Needs a comb.
The first thing his daddy said when Brian did the lineups, where's the comb and where's the haircut? Hart got 9, and he's got a first down for Michigan at the Notre Dame 25.
Well, you just saw Hart go through the middle, and there was absolutely no hesitation.
Over 4,000 career yards now for Mike. So Michigan trying to take advantage of the mistakes that Notre Dame made and then fielding the punt on the Notre Dame side of the 50. First down at the 25. Matthews in motion. It's Hart again. And Hart got 2, maybe 3. Let's check the Notre Dame defense and a guy that played there for a lot of years, and our colleague Mike Golick.
On the D-line, let's look at nose tackle Pat Kuntz in this new 3-4 defense. I got to give the nose tackle some love. They're like a fire hydrant at a dog show. At the linebacker position, Maurice Crum Jr., last year's leading tackler, looking to lead that defense this year. And at the safety position, Tom Zibikowski, also a boxer, by the way. He's a hard hitter, also a fearless punt returner.
All right, Mike, hang around. We might need you for the offense of Notre Dame the next time they get it. Second down and 7. Mallett looking left the whole way, through it behind his intended receiver, Adrian Arrington, incomplete, and that'll bring up third down.
Terrell Lambert covering.
True freshman starters at quarterback for Notre Dame. You got to go all the way back to Rick Leach. He won that one, and Chad, of course, started from the get-go here.
He sure did, and he won a Big Ten championship this first year as a freshman starting for Michigan. Michigan couldn't want anything better. Backed them up off the kickoff. Notre Dame punted from their own end zone. They got the ball inside the 50.
Now they've got to try to do something with it. Out of the shotgun is Mallett on 3rd and 7. Ryan loads it and has it tipped down at the line of scrimmage.
Mallett's pass incomplete.
Knocked away by Kerry Neal, the outside linebacker. Now there's Chad Henne. He's in one of the booths up near us. Senior quarterback who tied last week before he injured his leg the career touchdown passing mark. He and John Navarre both with 72. So now Gingell will try to have to get 3 here on a 39-yard field goal attempts for Michigan. Looked like somebody came off the corner awfully quickly for Notre Dame, but Gingell knocked it right through. Nice kick. And 3-0 Michigan. So they score early. Notre Dame will have another crack at it offensively when we come back. This telecast of ESPN's College Football on ABC HD is presented by DLP HD TV. Charlie Weiss's 3rd year as the head man at Notre Dame. 9-3 the first year, 10-3 last year. Down 3-0 after he opened things up. Boy, when Paul said he was going to open things up, we didn't know it was going to be Armando Allen and direct snap and then end around in the end zone.
And then a screen.
Golden Tate waits on the kick. And it goes to the far side. It's going to go out of bounds. And Notre Dame will either make Michigan re-kick or take it at the 35-yard line, depending on their choice. So after the field goal, Wright, the other kicker, the kickoff man, knocks one out of bounds. And they've decided apparently to take it at the 35.
On the kicking team, the ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
So a lot better room for number 7 to work than before. We'll set the Notre Dame offense after this snap as Clausen brings his troops up at the 35-yard line. He's going to drop back in the shotgun. And hands it off to Allen. And Allen goes for about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7 after Mike Golick sets the offense. Mike.
Up front, the Irish led by 5th-year senior center John Sullivan, looking to help gel that young offensive line. On the outside, look for All-American tight end John Carlson to try and be the main man and help out the true freshman starting quarterback, Jimmy Clausen. He played in front of 106,000 in Happy Valley last week, how about 110,000 in front of Michigan today.
And a freshman back there with him in Allen. Clausen, play fake, pressure coming. Drop the ball. Trying to find a handle, has to go way back on the 20, that's still loose. Michigan's got it. Michigan football, it's Donovan Warren, the freshman cornerback for the Wolverines.
Well, that was a blitz by the freshman corner, Donovan Warren, and he comes in. Clausen just drops the ball. But going back at the ball, he's going so tentatively to the ball. You've got to get to that ball and fall on it. Watch what Clausen does now. Here comes the ball out. It's hit out. Now watch what he does. Look out, gingerly he goes. But you've got to, and he's looking back to see where Donovan Warren is instead of going after the ball.
He made two mistakes. Number one, on the initial time, and he fumbled the ball. And secondly, when he just didn't get on it and cover it up. He made two mistakes. Lots of mistakes here early by the freshman quarterback.
Warren caused the fumble and recovered it. Michigan first down. Mike Hart, left side, got about 3. Trevor Laws, the defensive end, makes the stop.
Trevor Laws and Pat Kuntz made the stop for Notre Dame.
So Clausen on the sideline, you saw him talking to Charlie Weiss. Notre Dame defensively this year switching with Corwin Brown coming out as defensive coordinator, former star here at Michigan, as a matter of fact. For most part, they're a 3-4 defense, although they're a 4-man front right now, just when I say that. On second down and 6. Let's see if Mallett puts it up. Nope, gives it off on the stretch to Hart. And Mike's down about a yard shy of the first down. You know, Grease with freshman quarterbacks and all of that to kind of give us a tip for what they should look out for today.
Two 19-year-old quarterbacks, true freshmen. Here's my tip. Poise and confidence, and hold on to the football. Remember, you don't have to win it, just don't lose it.
Well, already Clausen lost it once, and now Michigan's trying to take advantage of it with a third down and a yard.
You want to go down to the bench and tell him to hold on to the football?
Charlie has told him that many times, and I'm sure he just told him it again.
Mundros in there now, the fullback, to try to lead the way for Hart on 3rd and 1. There they go. There he goes. Down he goes, but he's got the first down for the Wolverines. Had to get down to the 10-yard line, and that's about where they're going to unpile.
What Notre Dame has done is moved Laws, number 98, the left defensive end. They moved him to the right side to play over Jake Long. They want their best lineman on Michigan's best lineman.
Because Michigan likes to run left. You've seen the last few plays. They love to run to their left side behind Krause and Long.
It is 1st and goal now for the Wolverines. Trying to take advantage of the Notre Dame fumble. 3 wide receivers, but it's been mostly Mike Hart today. And now it's Mallett on the keeper. Got the stiff arm out there, and he's going to go down for a yard loss. David Bruton brought him down on the sideline. Mike Hart's been hobbled a little bit this year, Bonnie, but he looks okay today.
Well, when I talked to Mike yesterday, I asked him how the thigh bruise is compared to last week. He said it's much better, whereas last week he didn't practice at all. He practiced every day this week, but he told me he spent about 4 hours in the training room doing ice cups and stim and ultrasound. But for the most part, he says he feels much better, and they certainly need him without Henny in there.
He carried 31 times for 124 yards in last year's Michigan romp. And I wouldn't be shocked if he totes it 35 times today.
Yeah, you got single coverage out here on the outside.
Mallett's looking that way. Going to the corner. Got a man. And incomplete, and a flag flies in. We're going to have interference on Ambrose Wooden over in the corner. He was working against Adrian Arrington, the intended receiver, right in the corner of the end zone.
This was a beautiful throw now.
Well, the freshman Mallett is going to throw it the safest place, and that is long. If you don't throw it short, throw it long, protect the ball.
Might have been a little late with it, but it didn't matter. That's maybe why the interference was called.
Exactly. Ambrose, if the ball would have been there on time, he would have probably broken it up on time.
So now a gift of 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. Mundros comes back in, the big fullback. All 230-some pounds of him. Mike Hart has found the end zone 3 times through the first 2 weeks of the season. Behind Long and company, he's got another one. Touchdown, Michigan. So the Notre Dame fumble becomes a Michigan touchdown.
You know something, Grease? It doesn't matter that they know they're going to run to the left. They're going to tell you they're going to run to the left, and they just go over Jake Long and score.
They haven't had that much to cheer about through the first 2 weeks, and now they're going to be off to a 10-0 start with 7:34 to go in the first quarter over hated Notre Dame. So they didn't have to go very far, only 21 yards and only 5 plays, helped by a penalty and then helped by the heart of the team, Mike Hart, for the touchdown.
This presentation of ESPN's College Football on ABC brought to you by Best Buy. For a complete home theater experience, get HD done right at Best Buy. Jeep, with 7 Jeep vehicles, there's one for you. And Pacific Life, for insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed.
That's the Michigan M marked with superstition. They say if you walk over the M prior to taking an exam, you're going to fail. And it's also a place of contention. A rivalry between the freshmen and the sophomores. Freshmen aren't allowed anywhere around that M, or you could suffer the consequences. I don't know how many times I must have walked over an M in college, but it must have been a few times. Notre Dame on the kick return, scrambling around. Golden Tate looking pretty golden on that return, all the way out to the 40-yard line. Boy, you talk about something that Notre Dame needed, something like that to go right. Because, fellas, what you don't want with freshman quarterbacks is the ball bouncing around and you're not on top of it.
And what you've seen is Notre Dame making mistakes. Clausen with a fumble in the first possession, snapping it over his head.
Hey, look at Michigan. The one thing that we talked about, you talked about, they have to run the football, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Mike Hart so far. So now first 2 possessions, minus 27. Remember, they came in with minus 8 yards rushing on the season, minus 4 per game if you go over 2 games. They were minus 8 against Georgia Tech, and they didn't have any yards rushing against Penn State last week. They don't have much of an offense cooking right now. It's enough to make a coach wipe his brow.
That's not fun. It's good, bro.
Good line.
That's good.
Paul McGuire, Bonnie Bernstein at Michigan Stadium, where Notre Dame trails the Wolverines 10-0. They have a first down at the 41-yard line. Clausen out of the shotgun. Allen on the inside handoff. Nice run by Armando. Got 5 yards. It'll bring up 2nd down and 5 against a Michigan defense that's set for us by their captain, Sean Crable.
D-line led by Terrence Taylor and Tim Jameson, heart of the defense. The general, Johnny the Machete Thompson, leads the linebackers. Secondary led by Jamar Adams and Brandon Engelman.
The Machete, I like that one. 2nd and 5, here comes number 5, but he goes down in a hurry. Only got about 2. John Thompson, the Machete, macheted in there and got him around the ankles and dropped him short of the first down. The X factor in today's game, well, it's got to be these guys. It's not necessarily what they do, as Bob might have said earlier, but when you take a look at the X factor brought to you by Citi, it's if you make mistakes, if you're able to overcome them. Jimmy Clausen's already made one. Let's see if he can overcome one right here.
Well, he's got the rest of the game to try and overcome it.
Here's the throw, and he's got a first down. So there you go. And that's going to make him feel good. Not a big-time throw, but it is to his captain, John Carlson, and more importantly, settles him down and gets him a first down as we get our first update from Matt Weiner. Matt?
Back in New York, I'm Matt Weiner, keeping you current on everything happening across the country. First up, this Taco Bell update on Florida and Tennessee. Both teams ranked for the 19th straight meeting. Sophomore Brandon James gets the Gators going. The punt return, 83 yards for the touchdown and upper.
All right, Matt, another high snap over the head of Jimmy Clausen. This time he loses 13, but he gets on top of this one after 2 losses of 17 yards on bad snaps previously.
The center is a pretty good one. John Sullivan is a fifth-year senior. He's been doing this for quite a while. He not only snapped the ball over the freshman Allen, the first play of the game, that time he snapped it over Clausen. So I think the common denominator is the center.
Put the quarterback under the center.
And another fumble. Allen got this one on one hop, or that could have been a disaster as well. So first it's quarterback and center exchange. Now it's quarterback-tailback exchange, and Notre Dame's going the wrong way here, fellas.
They had a nice drive going there for one first down. The thing that Charlie Weiss has got a problem with is playing a lot of young people. When you play freshmen, last week we watched the game in Happy Valley, Penn State, over 100,000. It didn't seem like Clausen was shook up there at all. It does here today in this place, and this is not an intimidating place to play.
We got a long ways to go. 5 minutes remaining first quarter. Here comes a blitz off the corner. Clausen in trouble, and down he goes. Blitz came from Crable on one side, and the defensive back, Brandon Harrison, on the other side.
They're sending just too many people, Brad. They don't have enough people to block the guys on the line of scrimmage. And when you have a linebacker running free like Crable was doing there, you've got to make sure you got somebody on him. Now you got to.
Well, you do.
Yeah, but number 5, who is a freshman, Allen, doesn't step to the outside and pick up the blitz. He had a free shot.
Punting yards, you don't ever want it to be about 3 times more than your total offense.
No, you don't.
Greg Matthews is going to let this one bounce in front of him. He'll take it on a hop, kind of a gutsy move, and he's dropped in his tracks at the 20-yard line. So 4:17 remaining, and boy, it's been a tough day for Notre Dame so far here at Michigan Stadium, as the problem started on the opening snap of the ball game. Armando Allen trying to take a direct snap and way over his head all the way down to the 1. That led to a field goal. Then Clausen hit by Warren, and he recovered the fumble as well. That led to a touchdown, and then just a minute ago, it was Clausen losing 13 more yards.
Well, it's not so much what Michigan is doing offensively, is what Notre Dame is doing negative to offensively. That's, he's talking to the center Sullivan there, wondering what the problem is when he's snapping the ball over the heads of the quarterback.
Here's Mike Hart. And Mike again off that familiar left side, and he got about 5 more yards. First race in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship. The points are reset and the drivers are refocused. It's a 10-race shootout now. NASCAR Nextel Cup Series at New Hampshire. It's on ABC tomorrow. It starts at 1 Eastern with NASCAR Countdown. For more information, you can log on to ESPN.com. You see the line of scrimmage, the blue line of the 27. And that's where it's 2nd down and 5 for the Michigan Wolverines. Both teams looking for an initial win of the season.
That's Krause. He's moved over from left guard to center.
We told you that would probably happen, and it has. And here's Hart on a cutback run, stood up by the Notre Dame defense. Nice job defensively by Justin Brown. And it's going to be a 3rd yardage situation now for Michigan.
Trevor Laws as well. 3rd down and 2.
Trevor Laws, one of the leaders of that Notre Dame defense, in on the stop. Senior out of Burnsville, Minnesota.
He's a good one.
Leads the team in tackles, and you don't normally have that from a defensive lineman.
He's a defensive lineman. He's 2nd in the nation in defensive line tackles.
2 tight ends for Michigan. Hart's got a 1st down run again. Mike Hart, 3rd time today he has run for a 1st down on a 3rd down situation.
1st down, Michigan.
And of course, Trevor Laws talking about how things have been at practice this week.
He's a tough coach. He knows what he wants. Smart guy, but very demanding.
And what's it like playing for him?
That's good when you're doing well, but when you're not doing so well, it can be tough. He knows what he wants, and he likes to win. So, I mean, he's a winner. He came here to win games.
And Trevor basically saying that Charlie Weiss has some of his laws of his own around Notre Dame. It's been a tough week on both coaches. It's been a tough week, obviously, on the faithful fans across this whole country, and every state's got either Michigan or Notre Dame fans, and trust me, every state's got either Michigan or Notre Dame haters, so a lot of people are enjoying this.
Well, you know, one of the things that are happening with Notre Dame, they knew exactly what Michigan was going to do. They were going to come out and run the football, and they were going to run the football left. So now Notre Dame, they're playing 8 in the box to try to stop the run.
So far, they really haven't. Here's play action. Mallett wants it all. Air ball for Manningham. Out of bounds. Had him out there. Threw it a long ways, but a little bit wide. Let's go back to Matt with another update. I think this time it's on Auburn. Matt.
All right, Brad, you're right. And here's our vote for the Pontiac game-changing performance of the day. Auburn trying to survive. 4th and 9, but Brandon Cox's pass falls short. Bulldogs pull off the win. Sylvester Croom, it's a big one, 19-14.
Man, Auburn has had some struggles.
They have, losing to South Florida. Was it last week, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
Mallett just threw that ball down the sideline too far. There was a gap in there where he was open from like 25 to 35 yards. Just threw it too far.
Manningham drops this one. Should have had it.
And just threw that one too hard. He does this.
He does that. I'll give you that.
Yes.
And the receivers have said that they have had to adjust to the way this guy throws a football.
And then he's going to have to adjust that. I mean, you can take something off. You don't have to throw that ball as hard. Now, he's probably excited and all that other stuff.
Yep.
So the adrenaline's running, he's throwing it hard.
He's also saying to himself, if you ain't catching it, neither is the other guy. I mean, that thing is burning.
Mallett only 1 for 5 on his tosses. Zoltan Mesko into punt. He's got a great leg. The left footer. High kick, not so deep this time, though. Tom Zibikowski waiting on it. Zippy's a good punt returner.
One of the
Here he
best.
goes.
There he goes.
Zibikowski down the sideline. Flags are down. He breaks a tackle, still on his feet, and he's all the way to the 40-yard line of Michigan. Again, a flag flying from way over here on the near side. It would be a 31-yard punt return for Zibikowski, but let's hold the phone.
There's another flag down on the 40-yard line. You know what? That punt return, it looked like just the way you would draw it up. There's just a wall of white shirts on that right side.
It's a clipping call on the return, so not an illegal block in the back. Dan Capron, the referee.
During the return, clipping, number 26 on the return team. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Travis Thomas is the special teams captain, and he's the guilty party. So now Clausen trots back out, and he would have had great field position on the punt return. Instead, he's got to start at the 25-yard line again.
Get him under the center.
Just try to get something going offensively on the road with young guys. You got to have a pretty good return, good field position, and you get a penalty that sets you back.
Notre Dame's got about 29 yards minus on those hidden yards on penalties so far today. Clausen trouble from behind again, and down he goes again. Tim Jamison this time. Second sack in the last 2 series.
You got to have a clock in your head. You can't sit there. You got to know that if you're 2, 3, I've got to let it go or I've got to take off. You can't sit there holding the football in the pocket.
So sacks were a problem coming in as they had allowed 15, last in the country, and they're adding to the total today. John Tenuta's Georgia Tech defense got him 9 times, 6 more times last week, couple more times already today. Now they run it off the left side, and a good run out across the 25 to the 26. Bonnie.
Brad, Michigan's D coordinator Ron English, very tough on his unit the last couple of weeks, particularly Sean Crable. He's one of the senior captains, and as a matter of fact, Crable was saying even after he had a career tackle day against Appalachian State week 1, he pulled him into the office. He said, you're not acting like a captain, you're not playing like a captain. And initially, Crable took it as a slap on the face, but he went back and looked at the film and he realized Coach talked about humility, how you have to accept responsibility for your mistakes. He's taken it up a notch. He was in on that last sack on the last drive. The defense overall looking good.
Here he comes again, Bonnie. They're going to throw the screen pass over his head, though, good. And Allen's got it out across the 35. Nice shoestring tackle by the machete, John Thompson, or that could have been an even bigger gainer.
Yeah, but I don't even understand. You've got white shirts coming down. These guys are in blue. You see that blue? See how blue those are? Now watch. The one guy they don't block. They're going to come down. They've got 3 guys in this screen. All 3 of the guys. Watch this. Watch this here. Now watch right from the inside. See the guys? What are you looking at? In behind comes the linebacker.
You know
Thompson.
why? Because he slashed in there, the machete.
The machete. They had that set up really well.
They really did. And now the ball's out again, and Michigan's got it. It's Brandon Harrison. The ball just squirted out. Chris Graham, I think, caused the fumble. And the problems continue, and Allen, adding insult to injury, the guy that coughed it is down.
Momentum is such a big thing in college football, and it's all on the side of the Michigan Wolverines.
There's the hit by Graham, right on the ball.
Armando Allen, number 5, was one of those true freshmen that Charlie Weiss is playing.
Armando Allen is the injured player for Notre Dame.
Coach Weiss out by the 40-yard line, having a look.
He was really high on this young man when we were talking to him yesterday. He said, you're going to see a lot of Armando Allen.
True freshman out of Opelika, Florida, and the concern on the face of the head coach of the Irish, who later on this year will meet USC. But tonight it's the #1 Trojans going down to Nebraska land to take on the 14th ranked Cornhuskers. A big intersectional battle as the Big 12 hosts the Pac-10. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines on ABC tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Brent and Kirk and the gang will have that one for you. And Allen trotted off under his own power. That's good news. The bad news is Michigan's got it in Notre Dame territory again via a fumble.
For the third time in four possessions.
Mike Hart took a pretty good shot after maybe a yard gain. So everything that's gone wrong for the first 2 weeks for Michigan has come up roses. They're not exactly flying high, but they are in front 10-0 over Notre Dame at the end of one.
ESPN on ABC. College football lives here.
Some intelligent Michigan cheerleaders. They got it all right. All the letters in the right spots. We start the second quarter. Michigan in front 10-0. Second down and 9. Mallett going to loft one for Manningham, and it's going to be another pass interference. Terrell Lambert, the veteran corner, who's the cover corner, if you will, in that Notre Dame defense, and he's going to be the guilty party on that one.
You're not allowed to throw the guy out of bounds.
That's probably not the way you're supposed to do it there.
Right here, watch. Whoops.
No, that's kind of illegal.
You can do that. The problem is the ball was in the air.
Wouldn't be a good time to do it. Not with the ball in the air. Here's the call.
Pass interference. Number 20 on the defense. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul with an automatic first down.
So there's some more of those hidden yards. You keep getting penalties, and you have 5 fumbles, and you lose 2 of them, and you got minus 19 total yards for 7 minutes. It's not good. It's not good at all. Michigan's run 18 plays. 12 of them have involved Mike Hart. 11 on the ground, 1 as a pass receiver, and he's a single setback. Behind Mallett on first down. They fake it to him. Mallett's going to throw. He's got a man. Down inside the 5 is Manningham. And that was a pretty nice toss by the big quarterback rolling out of the pocket. That time he had to put some mustard on it, grease. And look at the smile on his face.
Yeah, it's his first big throw. Mike DeBoard, the offensive coordinator, calls a little misdirection and then gets him out of the pocket, which is big for a freshman. All you got to do is get out and just play catch with the guy. You don't have to read any coverage. Just see where he's going and get in front of him.
Now he's just got to take the snap and give it to Mike Hart.
Run left.
On first down and goal. Hart trying to bounce it out. Touchdown, Michigan. Guarantee victory, and you're a captain, just keep feeding him, and he'll keep finding the end zone. Second time today, 32nd time of his brilliant 4-year career for Mike Hart in the opponent's end zone.
They only have 10 guys on the field for the extra point.
Mike
Hart runs out there.
Hart says, I'll take his place. It's a big number 64 at right tackle, and Mike Hart was going to go in and play the position.
And now the extra point's going to become a little bit more difficult. Is that a guy that wants to give his all? I'll go block. I'm only 5'9", but I'll go block for that guy.
Yeah.
They got him for illegal substitution.
So now the extra point's going to become difficult. Look at Mike. Mike's going, I don't care. You want me to play defense? You want me to play special teams? I'll play it. A 38-yard drive in just 3 plays. Mallett's first big completion, as Bob said, of his Michigan career. And then give it to number 20. Jim Gell's point after from longer range is tucked inside the upright. 14:39 to go in the first half. Freddie Jackson, running back coach, with his arm around his captain. Mike Hart says, I guarantee we'll win. He's got his team a pretty good head start, doesn't he? 17-0 Michigan.
You're watching ESPN College Football on ABC.
Now, just what the doctor ordered for Michigan, giving the ball to number 20. And Michigan's run 20 plays. 14 of them have come in Notre Dame territory. 2 of them have been Mike Hart touchdown runs from short range. 17-0. And when you got a freshman making his first start at quarterback for the Wolverines, what a gift to have a 17-point cushion to work with.
And a short field. They've taken over 3 or 4 times in Notre Dame's into the field.
Golden Tate's from the 3. And Tate's got across the 25, out to about the 27-yard line. So now Notre Dame on offense again. And fellas, Here we are early in the second quarter. Something's got to start going right, or it's going to be a big day problem.
That's exactly right. And Notre Dame's got to say things can't go any worse. It's got to get better. And watch out, Michigan. Don't think this is going to continue the rest of the game.
Well, you're looking at Notre Dame 9 quarters now, and they have not scored an offensive touchdown. And this team is really struggling. And across the line of scrimmage, I'm talking about the offensive line, they're just not doing anything.
They've got to get some simple things to go right. 4 possessions, minus 19 yards. James Aldridge in at tailback now. Remember, Allen was shaken up on the last series. Here's Clausen. Nice throw on the slant. First down. And that should give Jimmy Clausen a little bit more confidence, a pickup of 14. Time for this afternoon's Aflac trivia question. Who is credited with dubbing Michigan Stadium the Big House? You've probably heard me say it once or twice already today. Think that one over. We'll have the answer for you coming up in a little bit. 42-yard line now for Notre Dame, trailing by 17-0. 14:28 to go in the first half. Aldridge, we expected to see quite a bit of the sophomore from Crown Point, Indiana. And with Allen, the freshman, out, he gets the call on the inside handoff, and he is blasted. After about a yard gain, Chris Graham made first contact, and then he got help from his friends. You know, a lot is made about, of course, Brady Quinn going on to professional football. No more Jeff Samardzija, no more Raymond McKnight, but there's no more Darius Walker, and he could have been a senior in this backfield.
Well, that's so true, and you know, it's got to be frustrating for Charlie. An offensive mind, an offensive guru. He came into Notre Dame 3 years ago, and who does he have at quarterback? Brady Quinn for his junior and senior years. They just score all kinds of touchdowns. Now he has to come back to a freshman. Got a lot of 3 new offensive linemen. Things aren't going too well yet.
Clausen in trouble, and he is just smothered. I mean, nothing but Wolverines in that backfield. Graham and Jamison, the 2 defensive ends, said, hey, let's have a quarterback Sammy for lunch.
Sandwich, there were 4 guys. 4 guys hit this guy. Not 1, 2, 3, 4. Watch the line. It is just incredible. He has no chance. First of all, he's holding the ball. Here they come. There's 1 on either side now. Well, watch. Wait a minute. There's 2 more coming. Let her go. 3. Boom. 4. Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Jimmy's just trying to get to his 20th birthday next week right now. Clausen in the gun.
They came in, as you mentioned, allowing the most sacks in the country.
3rd and long. And intercepted by John Thompson. The machete with another slice of defense for Michigan. Another Notre Dame turnover.
He's looking down the middle. He's looking where he's throwing it the entire way. The linebacker just saw it the whole time. Thompson saw it. Clausen, where he was looking, went right to the ball and picked it off.
This presentation of ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Saturn, with 5 new models and 2 new hybrids. Saturn, rethink American. Avodart. Aflac, ask about it at work. And Taco Bell, think outside the bun.
Down on Main Street, Bob Seger was born in Ann Arbor in '45 and then sang about it and made $1 zillion off that record. Michigan with a lead. Mike Hart with a spin move in the backfield. Hart 45 and down the sideline, almost got a first down. What a run that was. Pickup of 9 when it looked like it was going to be a loss of 2 or 3.
Well, when you guarantee a win and you are their best player on the football field, you better play your best, and that's exactly what Hart's doing.
That interception by Thompson for Notre Dame, all 3 of their turnovers in Michigan territory. And so Michigan's got the 17-point cushion for the freshman quarterback in a 2nd down and 1. Here comes Mike Hart again. First down and more. All the way down to the 25-yard line before Zibikowski could get him down 14 more yards.
The offensive line, Michigan, Jake Long, number 77 right here, the left tackle. The offensive lineman of the Big Ten last year, doing a nice job of team blocking. getting downfield, blocking on Crum.
And another first down run. Big Jake leading the way, number 77. As Bob said, lineman of the year last year, even over Joe Thomas of Wisconsin, who was the number 3 pick in the NFL draft. Blitz coming. Hart almost lost his balance, and now he's going to get planted for a loss on the play. But Jake Long, the big left tackle, one of the captains, talked with us about the things he does pretty well.
I chose Michigan because the tradition, the coaches, the players. I grew up about an hour and a half away from here. Was always a big Michigan fan. So I came here for camp and just loved everything about it, took visits, and I just fell in love with it and knew this was my place to be.
Well, that's why he came to Michigan. And he has made himself quite a player.
Pass.
And a double pass. The quarterback's the intended receiver, Arrington, and probably a good thing that Mallett fell down.
Oh, the big quarterback, the freshman, got so excited. Look at him smiling.
He's having fun, isn't he?
You know, he can't move real quick. You know, he's 6'7" and 250.
You know, it didn't work in practice Thursday either.
We saw it in practice.
Oh, what the heck. They believe in Lloyd. Let him open it up a little bit. You see Ryan, 6'7", 252. He says, first thing I do is get the ball over to Adrian. Then I got to turn around. I got to get behind my lineman. Whoops.
You know, I remember that happening to me one time on that same type of play. Oh.
That's where you say Wolfgang, the invisible dog, got you over there on the hash mark. 11:42. Michigan's having fun. Something to smile about for the first time at home all year long. Notre Dame on the road here at Michigan Stadium, looking for a little luck. Right now they haven't had any all day long. They trail 17-0. Michigan with a third down and 10, third and 11 actually.
Here comes a blitz.
Mallett in the shotgun.
Here they come.
See how he handles it. Throws over the top of it. It's got a man. Matthews, 10. He's gone. Touchdown, Michigan. And there's Mallett's first Michigan career touchdown. And he jumped right over the top of the celebration pile in excitement. There you go.
Well, you know, the thing that really makes this whole thing work is when you run a blitz at these guys, and every single one of the Notre Dame blitzers were picked up. And when you have that happening to you, then you have Matthews coming across the middle. He's wide open. There's nobody to cover him.
Jim Jal in for the point after. Right down the middle. 48 yards in 5 plays. And Ryan Mallett's first career touchdown. You know, 5 months ago, he's back at prom after he goes back from Ann Arbor and says, geez, it's a really big place up there in Ann Arbor. And someday I'm going to play on that field, and someday I'm going to do this.
Well, you look at that blocking. When you do that, nobody even gets close to the quarterback. And then when you got to throw, you've got a linebacker. Crum is the guy that's covering a wide receiver. That ain't going to happen.
And watch Mallett in celebration. He's going to miss the pile because he's 6'7". Watch this. You think he's fired up? Now you got to jump on the guys, Ryan. And here you go, whoops! Oh, geez, he missed the pile.
He doesn't know how to run out for a pass. He doesn't know how to jump in the pile. He's just a freshman. Come on.
He's just a big pup.
He's just a big pup.
It's all timing, Bob. It's all in the timing.
21 points for Michigan off Notre Dame turnovers.
There goes.
Give some credit to the offensive line and the backs for picking up that blitz. He had single coverage. There was nobody around.
Here's Tate from the 10. And Tate weaves across the 30 out to about the 33-yard line. As we look back to what's gone on so far in what is a Michigan route with our Pacific Life game summary. Things going badly for Notre Dame. That's the big problem. 3 turnovers, including that one on the fumble by Clausen that he lost completely. That turned into points. And then sacked repeatedly by the Michigan defense. And then Mike Hart behind his big blockers, his second touchdown of the day. And then Mallett just hit Matthews for another one. It is 24-0.
And Notre Dame's only run one play in Michigan territory.
A third different tailback in the lineup for Notre Dame. And Clausen running for his life again. And this is going to be, I think, grounding, although he was in the grasp of Brandon Graham, and I don't know if he was outside far enough or not.
No, I don't think it's going to be intentional grounding.
Well, he didn't get the ball to the line of scrimmage.
Intentional grounding. Number 7 on the offense. No. By rule, the ball is placed at the spot of the foul with a loss of down, 2nd down.
He was being hit. Let's see this again. He was trying to throw the ball further, but because he was getting hit, that's the way I saw it initially. Let's see. Yeah, he would have thrown it further had the guy not been there. You got to give him a little discrepancy on that.
That's a quarterback talking about a quarterback, and there's Junior Jabby. And Crable leveled him. Big Sean Crable. And now the Michigan defense is gaining some confidence because the wheels are falling off the Notre Dame offensive truck. Wow.
But they didn't come in ranked too highly. They were last offensively in 3 or 4 offensive categories. Last in total offense, in rushing, and in scoring.
And in sacks allowed.
Sacks allowed.
And 107th in passing.
Yes.
Well, when you try to run a play up the middle, and you can't get to the line of scrimmage, and you're tackled 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, the offensive line, they're doing absolutely nothing.
Well,
now they've got 2 tight ends in there to try to max protect on 3rd and 20.
It's the 3rd time it's been 3rd and 20 or longer.
And a flare pass, and that's incomplete. And Michigan will get the football back again. Notre Dame's got a punt as they went the wrong direction again. Morgan Trent made the play over there defensively for Michigan. 4th down and 20.
Wait a minute. Is Jimmy Clausen staying in?
They're going to stay in there on 4th and 20? Well, I guess Charlie wanted to open up the offense.
The signs say 3rd. There was a penalty on the intentional grounding.
That's a loss of down.
That's a loss of down.
Yeah.
But the marker on the sideline
says... Prior to the snap, there was a delay of game foul against the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. There was no play. Please reset the game clock for 10:39.
All right, it's 3rd down and 25. That we did not see, nor did we hear the whistle. The Michigan crowd is really up to the task today. First time they've had something to cheer about. We didn't hear a whistle or see a flag, to be quite honest with you. So 3rd down and 25, another try. As Clausen will drop into the shotgun. Again, 2 tight ends. Now they empty that backfield. Aldridge in motion. Pump fake. Now he wants to go down the sideline, and he threaded one in there. It's not going to be a 1st down, but he got back almost to the original line of scrimmage to Kamara.
You've seen some of the worst of Jimmy Clausen. That is the first play on the reel of the best of Jimmy Clausen.
And there'll be a lot of those over his stay in South Bend.
Oh, for sure.
Jeff Price to punt. Greg Matthews, who has a touchdown reception to his credit, will drop back deep for Michigan. And it's a short snap fake on 4th down. Let's see if they're going to get it. They are. Big chance taken, and Travis Thomas, who has started a game at tailback this year, was a defensive player last year, special teams captain. Whew.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Well, and it was a great time to call it too, because nobody on Michigan's side of the field was expecting it.
The back-to-back plays, the first 2 good things probably that have happened for Notre Dame today. Let's see if they can keep it going now.
See if it turns the momentum of this game around.
Armando Allen's back in. He was shaken up earlier, the freshman tailback. Clausen going to go deep down the sideline. And out of bounds, incomplete, intended for George West. With more on Jimmy Clausen, here's Bonnie.
Well, Brad, Jimmy Clausen is very much the future of Notre Dame. When you think about it, the only reason why Demetrius Jones really started that first game against Georgia Tech is because Clausen had elbow surgery in the spring, and because of the rehab, he just simply wasn't ready to come back. But when we talked to Weiss the other day, he talked about how impressed he is with his pause early on, how he doesn't have quote-unquote freshman eyes. So whatever good we see from him today, they expect much more of that from him at Notre Dame.
If they can protect him, he can maybe start to get the job done. And here comes Michigan sneaking up again. Blitz will come from Harrison. Clausen screen middle. Allen just belted by Crable. Ooh, and Sean Crable has come to play. A loss of 4 as we go to New York and Matt Weiner.
All right, Brad, Iowa and Iowa State. Great finish with the Cy Hawk Trophy up for grabs. Brett Culbertson from 28 yards. His 5th field goal of the day gets Gene Chizik his first head coaching win for Iowa State.
You know, that was one of the hottest tickets in college football this week. They were selling those babies for way over face value, and that's not good for Coach Ferentz, but for Coach Chizik, after 2 rough weeks, that is huge.
There have been tough weeks.
So now 3rd down and 14. 4 wide outs. Carlson, the tight end in the slot. Clausen looking for a receiver, and down he goes again. And it's Sean Crable again, along with Brandon Graham.
This whole thing's not beating up the offensive line, but they're not blocking anybody. I'm sorry.
Well, earlier we asked you the Aflac trivia question. Who's credited with dubbing Michigan Stadium the Big House? Well, the Big Hoss himself, in the Michigan Media Hall of Fame, in everybody's Hall of Fame. One of the greatest who ever called a game, our old buddy Keith Jackson. Oh, Nelly.
Oh, Nelly, I'm going to tell you.
Oh, the barn's on fire, and it's going to take a couple rows of the corn.
It's pretty good.
Here's Notre Dame to punt. Keith, if you're watching today, we miss you. Hope you're having a good one, maybe on the golf course, though, or maybe fishing.
I hope you shot 75 this morning and you just got back to watch the game.
That's right. 8:24 remaining in the first half. All Michigan right now, 24-0. And Sean Crable in the defense really hungry this afternoon. This telecast of ESPN's College Football on ABC HD is presented by DLP HD TV. And you're watching ESPN College Football on ABC from the Big House, presented by Best Buy, with Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Bonnie Bernstein, Brad Nessler. And Michigan rolling right now, 24-0. And this guy's rolling. Mike Hart cuts back, still on his feet. And Hart might have a first down again. He does.
big Jake Long there.
Kind of pushing him along.
You see Jake, he's 12 yards down the field. Now he's a left tackle, and he's blocking at the line of scrimmage at the point of attack. And the next time you see him, he's pushing Hart down the field. Look at number 77 right there near the end of the line. Now watch where he ends up. He goes out. Here comes Hart. You see Long 77 there. He's just pushing down the field. Now watch. Oh, you're out in the open? Well, let me go over and help you.
Krause, we got in there too, 73.
34-yard line, first down, and Hart takes it for about 2. Jake Long, he's quite a character to be around, and he's got some definite strengths.
I think I'm a pretty powerful run blocker. I get out on space and can move people and create some big holes.
And he has done that over his career at Michigan. I love talking to Jake the other day because he had a cell phone with him. And he's got a navy blue cell phone about the color of the Michigan jerseys. And he's got white tape around the antenna because the thing's so beat up. And I said, it looks just like your left hand. Everything's wrapped up. That phone's about 3 years old. It's been dropped about 100 times. Here's a pass out. Arrington. I mean, that was an offensive lineman phone is what I'm saying.
You mentioned Joe Thomas. He was the player of the year, offensive lineman in the Big Ten.
You
mentioned Joe Thomas.
He was the Outland Trophy winner.
Yeah, and third pick of the first round. You did forget to mention Levi Brown out of Penn State.
Yeah.
He was drafted number 5 in the first round. Now, if Jake Long was the best offensive lineman in the Big Ten, where do you think he's going?
He left some money on the table, I tell you that. I told him I'm calling him next year for a loan.
Yeah, he's going to be able to buy a new phone.
He's going back and pick that money up this year.
He can buy the phone company maybe next year. Here's Mike Hart on a handoff, and Mike Hart, wow, what a run. What a run. Down to the 44-yard line, 11 more, and he's closing in on a 100-yard game. And it's only the first half.
Jake Long is just one of those guys that, watch him. He's going down the line of scrimmage. He sees the man that he wants to block is already blocked. So what does he do? He just moves out on blocking to number 52, the linebacker, and puts him on the ground.
And a first down run to the 44. Mike Hart, I know we've said it a couple of times, and you probably heard it all week. I guarantee we're going to win. He's got 90 yards and 2 touchdowns, and nobody has stopped him, I don't think, with the first would-be tackler today. This time broke one, broke another, and he still isn't down. And he picked up about 3 yards on the play. We talked to Mike, he said that guarantee last week after a disappointing loss to Oregon, and we said, what did it do to the team, do you think?
I think it was something that everyone says we step up a little bit. At the same time, Notre Dame's going to be like, we have to step up a little bit too. I think, he guaranteed the victory. But I think it was something that needed to be done. I think this team really took it to heart, that I said that I have confidence in them, that I know we can beat this team.
He gets a breather here. That's a problem for Michigan. Last time, the first time they handed it to somebody other than Hart, they fumbled. It's Brandon Minor this time, and Minor gets inside the 40 down near the 37-yard line. Bonnie?
Hart, along with Long and Henne, all stuck around this year, put off the NFL to try to win the national championship. Obviously, that's not a possibility, but Hart says, look, we have so much to play for. We were 1-2 so far against Notre Dame. We haven't beat Ohio State. Want to win the Big Ten, want to go to the Rose Bowl. I said, what makes you think you're going to win the Big Ten? He said, oh, that's easy. 3 words, no spread offenses.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chad Henne looking on from the booth upstairs. He'd love to be out there. But right now, he's been the biggest cheerleader for the kid that's been playing quarterback, the freshman. He says he's got all the tools. He might be the best that's ever played here by the time he's done. And here is Mallett, but this one's batted down at the line of scrimmage by Pat Kuntz, the nose tackle. The ESPNU All-State Standings Review as we take a look at the top team in the country playing on ABC tonight. Top-ranked USC. LSU's looked brilliant. Oklahoma's been sensational. West Virginia beat Maryland on Thursday night. And you look at Wisconsin surviving the Citadel today.
Yes.
The Citadel.
Ohio State's got a big game going on.
That's right. They're playing Washington. At Washington. So Paul's old school scared the pants off the Badgers today.
You got that right, Bubba.
Mesko's punt. Zibikowski calls for the fair catch and has to field it inside the 10 at about the 8-yard line. As Matt Weiner's got an update in New York for us. Matt?
All right, Brad, it's a Sports Center update powered by Vizio. And for the second straight Saturday, Auburn gets upset, this time by Mississippi State. The Tigers turned it over 5 times. Sylvester Croom gets his 5th SEC win in his 4th season. Texas helping open up the new stadium in Central Florida. Colt McCoy and Nate Jones tied up at 10.
All right, Matt, keep us posted. We got 5:10 left in the half here. First down, Notre Dame, not good field position again, though, inside their own 10-yard line. Allen, we got about 2. John Thompson cuts through there to make the tackle. Other games involving Big Ten teams. We mentioned Wisconsin ranked 7th, but the last 2 weeks they've struggled. Penn State had a hard time getting going and then rolled to 45 points. They'll be in here at Michigan next week. Illinois over Syracuse. Purdue puts 45 on Central Michigan. But it's time for Purdue not play those directional teams anymore, Bob. And there you see Ohio State 3-0 on Washington out at Husky Stadium. And here, 24-0 Michigan. Clausen, nice throw. Jimmy tucked one in there on the quick slant to Bobby Paris, but it's going to be short of the first down.
Yes, Notre Dame, you got Charlie Weiss, offensive guru, if you want. 32 possessions so far. 32 possessions, no touchdown.
That's not good.
They asked Charlie about that after the game last week, I think, and said, how do you feel about not scoring any points? I feel like I want to vomit.
Third down. Aldridge checks in at tailback behind the fullback Schwab. And Aldridge puts his head down, but he ran right into a bunch of Wolverines, and he didn't get it.
And they didn't block anybody. They did not block anybody at the line of scrimmage. You've got to own that piece of property if you're going to pick up a yard and a half. And you don't move the guys in blue, you can't move the ball. Take a look at this. Watch what Michigan does right in the middle of that offensive line. Here they come out. Look at the Notre Dame guys go back. Not forward, they go back.
It was Taylor, 67, the nose tackle, that just split 2 guys and got into the backfield.
You think that Michigan defensive front's happy not to see the spread offense?
Oh, boy. The whole linebackers and the DBs.
They're playing like madmen today. Price to punt. High and short. Very short. See what kind of roll it takes. It will bounce into Michigan territory. Notre Dame will let it go, and it'll get down to about the 44-yard line. 2:57 remaining in the second quarter, and coming up, Cooper Tires halftime show. John and Craig and Doug will be in New York. Update you on all the scores. Couple upsets again today already. Minnesota upset as well from the Big Ten. But the packed house here at Michigan Stadium that for 2 weeks had put their heads in their hands have not had to do that today. They've used their hands for clapping.
Been different pictures that we've been seeing today from John Delvecchio, our director, has been giving us. Last week it was head in hands, not very good, despair and all that, and a little bit different today.
So Michigan's got another opportunity. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Here's Hart, Mike Hart. Mike Hart over 100 yards right now, and it's not halftime.
Mike Hart is one of those runners, Ness, that he doesn't have great speed, and he's not really big. But what he does have is great vision. He sees holes, he knows the moves he has to make, and he can get there.
I mentioned last week that the statistic about him rushing for 100 yards and the percentage of times Michigan wins had been slipping because of the first 2 weeks of the season. If things keep going like this, that statistic is a little bit better today. He's got 104 yards already. It's not even halftime. Here he comes again. Almost collared. He broke the tackle. Down the sideline and out of bounds. That is rush number 21. I might have been a little low when I said he'd carry it 35 times today.
Yeah, Mike Hart is the best friend of that true freshman quarterback.
You got that. Monday Night Football on ESPN continues. NFC East matchup. Redskins, fresh off an overtime win, will take on Donovan McNabb and the Eagles, the friendly confines of Philadelphia. Monday Night Football on ESPN, 8:30 Eastern Time. Our coverage starts 7 o'clock Eastern with Monday Night Countdown on ESPN coming up in a couple of days. Lundros in there at fullback now. Nice play action by Mallett. Might want it all. Airs it for the corner, but it's double coverage, and it's out of bounds anyway. David Bruton, the safety, came over to help Darren Walls, but that one's thrown out of bounds. And it'll bring up
Darren Walls on the coverage.
3rd down and 1.
What I like about Michigan's backs, and we saw Hart do it last week on a block. That time Minor comes out, and they got a blitzing linebacker on the outside, and he just knocks him down. These guys really block well the backs.
Got to think that they decided we can still get 3rd down and a yard, or maybe even 4th down and a yard, so take a shot at it.
2nd and 1, go for the long one. It's one of his strengths, throwing the long ball.
Lundros, the fullback, again creeping over that left side, and that's where Hart takes it. He's got a 1st down. He got collared from behind by somebody, Joe Brockington, I think. That was almost one of those Roy Williams type tackles in the back of the pads, but Hart just bounces right up, gets a little tap on the helmet from Jake Long. How you like the difference in size between Jake Long and Mike Hart? And they are 2 of the best guys in the Big Ten and maybe in all of college football.
Well, there's Jake going back, just going to the secondary. His man in front of him has already been blocked. Look at this, he gets just smothered. I mean, Brockington has no chance whatsoever to get around him or through him.
Hart, rather Minor this time, down inside the 25, and he might have a 1st down. Very close to it. Rayshawn McNeil made the tackle, and now Michigan just eating up chunks of yardage on the ground as the clock winds down to 1:40. Remember, they still have timeouts remaining. Not a good day for Irish fans that have made the trip from South Bend or wherever they might have come from to get some tickets into what probably is one of the top 5 crowds ever in this building. The record's 112,118 against Ohio State 4 years ago. Hart back in at tailback. 2nd and short. Mike's got it again. Cartwheels his way to a 1st down at the 20.
Mike Hart carried the ball.
Amazing how many times you see number 20 and number 77 get up together.
You know, it's easy for Long to touch him because he's way down. He just pats him on the head.
And now Michigan goes without a huddle here. And Mallett's going to drop back into the shotgun. On 1st down. Throws to the outside. Oh, that one could have been picked off. Darren Walls made a nice play out there. Mario Manningham was the intended receiver.
Even though Michigan has 24 points on the board, you can still see a raw, true freshman quarterback out there for the University of Michigan.
He's only 4 out of 11 throwing the football.
The only difference between him and Jimmy Clausen is he's got a better line, offensive line. He's got Mike Hart in the backfield, and he hasn't made all the mistakes that Jimmy Clausen has made.
2nd down at 10. And now Now it's Hart behind the left side of the line all the way down near the 10-yard line. Justin Brown finally brings him down, but it's 9 more for Mike Hart.
These two quarterbacks we're talking about at the beginning of the game, Clausen and Mallett, last year in high school were number 1 and 2 coming out.
Michigan's going to take a timeout with 57 seconds remaining. They don't want to blow an opportunity for more points before halftime here. So they're at the 11-yard line. We'll see if they can tack on some more points against Notre Dame when we come back. Mike Hart's carried it 24 times already in the first half, and he's done most of the damage up the middle or behind Long and Krause on that left side, including his 2 touchdowns.
Nothing to the right side.
3rd and 1. It's Hart. And looks like he might have gotten it. That's a close call this time. John Ryan made the tackle. 4 previous times on 3rd down and 1, he got the call, and he just got it again. And it is 1st and goal. Clock winding with 45 seconds remaining in the half. All Michigan due to turnovers by Notre Dame and the effective running of Mike Hart, who's got 2 touchdowns. Here he comes again, and he gets down to about the 6. Michigan has 1 timeout remaining. They lead 24-0. Hart with 2 touchdown runs, and Mallett, the freshman quarterback, to Greg Matthews on a scoring pass. And a field goal for Michigan. So 29 seconds remaining with a 24-0 lead and looking for more. Already 26 carries for the Michigan captain, Mike Hart. He's gone over the 4,000 career mark. He has flown past it today. 2 touchdowns already. Now Michigan's out of timeout. 2nd down and goal at the Notre Dame 5. Mallett in the shotgun. Throws to the corner. Touchdown! Adrian Arrington. That time he didn't miss the pile when he went over there to celebrate.
That's for sure. Well, he's gaining some confidence, gaining a little experience. 2nd touchdown pass.
Hasn't completed that many passes, but 2 of them have been for scores. The other freshman quarterback can only look on and frown about the day that he's had so far. Gingell in for the point after. Up and good. All Wolverines on their home field for the first time today. After having given up over 30 points 4 straight games, they have over 30 points. Michigan in command. Squib kick, and it's going to be covered at about the 26-yard line by Schwab, the fullback. So Notre Dame has 2 timeouts remaining. I don't know if they'd be willing to take a crack here with 24 seconds, or if they're just going to head to the locker room and try to regroup a little bit. There's Ron English, and a nice day for him, the defensive coordinator for the Wolverines after 2 tough weeks.
Well, the big smile on his face when I mentioned to him in the meeting yesterday that he wasn't playing against the spread option offense with a quarterback that was just as good a runner as the running backs were.
Well, 3 wideouts out there for Notre Dame. Clausen going to roll him out of the pocket, and he's going to get collared on the sideline. That won't help make his day any better. Brandon Graham makes the hit. Dancing with the Stars starts Monday, September 24th. I thought they were going to get Greece involved in this thing, but I guess not. It's a 3-night Premier event. 6 men, 6 women, and only 1 rule. You better bring it. Dancing with the Stars season premiere. It's live Monday, September 24th, 8, 7 Central, only on ABC.
You thought Greece was going to be invited?
I really did.
He has a hard time walking.
Hey.
Dance.
Well, Emmett won it a couple years ago.
Yeah, Emmett won it. And then the other, Yoko Ono won it last year, or whatever the ice skater's name is.
Yeah.
What's his name?
They got Floyd Mayweather. They got Floyd Mayweather Jr. in there, the boxer. He's a pretty good dancer in the ring, so maybe he's got a shot at it. Down to 10 seconds. Well, Notre Dame was hoping for much more in the first half. Michigan couldn't have asked for more than what they received. Some gift turnovers, some big plays by Mike Hart, 2 touchdown passes by their freshman quarterback. And finally, some of the fans that were booing last week are happy today. Let's go down to Bonnie.
I'm going to ask one question.
Lloyd Carr, this is first time this year your defense has really been able to be aggressive. Why have they had so much success so far?
Well, I think one thing, this is a great group of people, and, they were motivated to come out. They know what Michigan Notre Dame means.
You told us before the game you were concerned about Ryan Mallett keeping his emotions in check. How is he able to overcome the early jitters?
Well, I think he's done a good job. He's made a couple of mistakes, but he's had really good poise, and he's got a lot of confidence.
Thanks, Coach.
The last 2 weeks, those two of Ann Arbor's finest kind of had to protect Lloyd to get him out of here. They take him to halftime with a 31-0 lead. Let's go to John, Craig, and Doug. Fellas.
You're watching ESPN College Football on ABC.
It's a great school. Just the atmosphere.
It's always great knowing there's somebody rooting for you out there and be able to, show them that, you're doing something for them also.
To be able to play in that type of environment every weekend, it's pretty exciting.
I feel like you could jump 10 feet high and just jump out of the stadium.
They've been jumping in this stadium today. ESPN's College Football on ABC, presented by Best Buy. And it is all Michigan as we're just about set to start the third quarter. 31-0 Wolverines. Both teams came in 0-2. Both teams unranked for the first time in the history of this series that dates back to 1887. And right now, Notre Dame on the short end getting whacked 31-0 by the Wolverines of Michigan. And to make matters worse, Michigan will get the football first to start the second half because Notre Dame won the toss at the beginning. And they took the football. Brandon Miner waiting on Nate Whitaker's kick. It's going to be taken by one of the up men. And pretty good field position for Michigan with which to work to start the third quarter. Unless that ball came out, the players are fighting, but the officials don't seem to be too involved.
The players are reacting like it's Michigan's ball.
On the tackle for Notre Dame.
And they unpile everybody, and it'll be Michigan with their freshman quarterback and with Mike Hart. Welcome back, everybody, to Michigan Stadium. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire. Bonnie will join us in a minute. We expected a lot of Mike Hart today. He showed a lot of Mike Hart, hasn't he?
Well, the two freshman quarterbacks starting the ball game. One of them has Mike Hart, and the other one doesn't. And the one that has him is ahead 31-0.
Too many mistakes by Notre Dame, that's for sure, so far today, as whistles blow, and Michigan will have it at the 30-yard line. Paul, you can't do what Notre Dame has done and expect to ever win a ball game.
No, they are not blocking anyone up front. I mean, this offensive line, there was one play I watched, the 3 offensive linemen blocked the same guy. I mean, come on, you just can't do that.
At least they got one guy.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, the worst part about it, they didn't get him.
They didn't get him.
Get him.
I think Charlie Weiss has a coach's challenge going on about what may or may not have been a fumble. And so we're going to take another look back. And it was Carlos Brown. Carlos Brown fumbled last week, remember, in the loss to Oregon on one of his only carries. As we take another look. Well, was he down before the ball came out?
It looked like he was clearly down.
Yeah, he's down. His knees are down.
Knees are down.
I think his left knee is already down before his rear end hits and before he's rolled over, but we'll let the replay officials take a look.
Well, nothing else is going right, so you might as well take a shot at it.
Let's check in with Bonnie.
Well, Brad, Charlie Weiss just sort of shook his head as he walked out of the locker room. He said, everything I talked to my players about to try to put ourselves in a good position in the first half, we didn't do. I talked about protecting the quarterback. That obviously didn't happen. We had direct snaps over Jimmy's head. Talked about not turning the ball over. That was an issue. He said, and then it got even more sloppy in the second quarter because we were down big and we found ourselves pressing. So what did he tell his team about? On the backside, he said, I just want you to go out there and play your butts off as far as Clausen. Look for a lot more 3-step drops. Let him get rid of the ball quickly so he doesn't continue to get pummeled. And then defensively speaking, Brad, rocket scientist doesn't need to tell you, just have to tackle Hart better.
The runner was ruled down. Therefore, the play is not reviewable. It is first down for Michigan. Notre Dame will not be charged. Timeout.
One thing following up to what Bonnie was saying is Charlie's not dealing with 25 and 30-year-old athletes. He's dealing with 19, 20, 21-year-old kids
So Michigan first down. Mike Hart, and this time Notre Dame tackles him after only about a yard gain. Pat Kuntz, the junior out of Indianapolis, the nose tackle, made the stop as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Statistically, of course, the rushing chart's going to look pretty good for Michigan along with their total yardage.
Sacks allowed. Notre Dame, that's how many they got now? 15, 21 sacks on the year. You know, that just goes, it doesn't go to all of the offensive line. Some of it does, but also to the freshman quarterback who holds the ball too long and doesn't get rid of it.
And sometimes it's maybe his heart's dropped for a loss on that play. Trevor Laws, nice play by the defensive end. Sometimes it's blitz pickup by freshman tailbacks, things like that.
All of that is involved. Offensive line, quarterback, running backs picking up the blitzers, the whole thing.
And you also have, you think about a freshman quarterback, and here's the adjustments you were talking about.
You just got to protect the quarterback.
Oh, yeah, that's the whole
for
thing.
Notre Dame and for Michigan.
Keep on running.
Yeah, more the same.
Longest third down for Michigan on the day. Mallett wants to throw a screen to Hart, and Mike couldn't pull that one down. So, nice defensive stop for Notre Dame. Michigan's got to give up the football. And Tom Zibikowski will go back and wait on the punt. As we said, Tom's one of the best around. He's got 3 career punt returns for touchdowns, and he almost had one against Penn State last week.
Deep for Notre Dame, Tom Zibikowski.
There's his numbers. Mesco hangs it up in the air a mile. Zibikowski waiting and took it and almost dropped it, and then Harrison buries him. He actually lost yardage, I think, on that return. So now Jimmy Clausen comes out for the first time here in the third quarter, and he was beat up and pressured relentlessly by the Michigan defense. Knocked down, fumbled. Crable and company getting to him, and there's the big swarm of Wolverines on one of the sacks, and then the intentional grounding on that one, and he paid the price from Graham. Now let's see if they can protect him a little better in the second half. First down at the 26. Aldridge is the tailback. Here's the quick throw, and that doesn't gain much either. About a yard for David Grimes on the reception. Donovan Warren, the freshman corner, he's played a good game today so far. Talk about stats here in the third quarter. Your out of whack stat for Notre Dame on the season: 34 possessions, still no touchdown.
Wow. And there is no question in my mind that Jimmy Clausen is going to be a good quarterback. I was impressed the way he played at Penn State last week. But this what we're watching here today, Brad, reminds me of Brady Quinn's freshman debut at Purdue when they just beat him up.
You and I did that one. He threw 59 passes, and he got hammered on about half the throws he made.
Yeah.
Mike Turkovich, I think the left guard, came out of his stance.
Clear the snap. Full start.
Well, first of all, you're not blocking anybody.
5-yard penalty. Still second down.
And then you go with a long count, Brad, and you got these guys sitting there, and they're anxious to hit somebody because they hadn't hit anybody in the first half. And now they get these guys move. There's movement. You know, you make a mistake, you go sit down on the sideline.
That's the way it is. So Olsen comes in for Turkovich. And now second down and 14. Exactly the kind of position you don't want to find yourself in, is long yardage against a Wolverine defense that now is just pinning its ears back and will for this entire half. Another quick throw, same play. This one goes to West, and West got it out to almost the 31-yard line. John Thompson made the tackle.
George West. John Thompson on the stop for Michigan.
Notre Dame struggling and looking at an 0-3 start. It's the 9th time in their history that they have lost 4 straight games, dating back, of course, to the end of last year, the end of regulation, and then the Sugar Bowl. And we saw them get whacked by LSU, and now they're looking at a 5-game losing streak. And guys, you got to sit and wonder, how come it's this bad right now?
Well, they've got 3 new offensive line starters that have never played before: Winger, Turkovich, and Duncan. You mentioned that they lost their running back, Walker. They lost their 2 wide receivers, McKnight and Samardzija.
This is a one holdover that is an All-American caliber player, and that's the tight end John Carlson, who gets him a first down.
Chris Graham made the stop. First down.
There's the returning starters, Carlson being one of them. 5 on defense, and on special teams, the punter.
So they lost a lot of players, 8 on offense and 6 on defense. And they lost the key guy you lose is your quarterback.
Brady Quinn.
When you've had a guy, and I think that one of the big things is Charlie Weiss didn't have a guy, a redshirt sophomore to step in when Brady Quinn graduated. He didn't have that guy to step right in. He's got to go to a true freshman right out of high school.
Clausen's 11 out of 14, but a lot of them are short passes. We're going to go right now to Matt Weiner in New York.
Hi, Brad. Michigan fans, always interested to see what Ohio State is up to. First visit to Seattle since 1994, and the offense was slow to get going, but after blocking a kick, Todd Beckman to Brian Robisky, 68 yards to make it 10-7 there. Texas into halftime in Central Florida with a 10-point lead.
Brand new stadium in Central Florida, and the Longhorns having to work for it down there. Clausen's hit his last 7 passes. Blitz upcoming. They'll try to run right by it, and it's Aldridge. We got about 4, and it's going to bring up another third down situation.
That's this guy, Clausen has not thrown a pass. He's thrown 4, I think, so far. He hasn't thrown a pass over a yard. I mean, and Bonnie had talked to the coach. He said, more 3-step drops, and that's all basically he's doing. He's getting the ball, he's standing up, and he's firing it. Now, what you're trying to do is hope that the wide receiver on the outside, if they're in man coverage, that he can break that first tackle.
Notre Dame's got a 3rd down and 5. Their longest play today, by the way, is 14 yards. Here comes Michigan sneaking up, and they got him from behind. And it's Brandon Engelman on a safety blitz off the corner.
Boy, and that's from the backside. You don't see it coming. There's no way. You know, we talk to these guys, linebackers, about what's the best tackle, the best sack coming. Here is a classic example of the best sack. Now, you watch Clausen. He doesn't see Engelman at all. Bang, bang. I mean,
that's the quarterback's fault, Brad. Anytime that free safety gets up that close to the line of scrimmage, you know you got to expect something's coming.
Price punt is deep. Matthews backpedals inside the 10. Got by the first guy. And got about 12 yards on the return. Zimikowski down there on the special teams to make the stop. Michigan 31-0 here in the 3rd quarter. This telecast of ESPN College Football on ABC HD is presented by DLP HD TV. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Bonnie Bernstein at Michigan Stadium, where the Wolverines have it 1st and 10 of their own 21-yard line. Mike Hart running and still on his feet. Out near, look at him go. He got a first down on the tertiary effort, if you will. It wasn't second effort on the last 2 yards.
Well, this to me is continuous effort for a guy. You know, he just never quits. And when this guy keeps his legs going, this is what makes him so successful. His feet don't stop. These guys were just hanging on, and he took them for another 3 yards.
First down now, out just inside the 33-yard line. Blitz coming up the middle, Hart coming up the middle. And Hart taking guys with him again. And Mike Hart, the captain and the soul of this team, talked with us about what he does well.
Strengths, definitely. You know, I'm a great leader. I love leading, something I've done my whole life. And then that just takes me, you know, to being passionate on the field. I'm passionate about the game, so I'm going to give 100% every play. Weaknesses, I probably talk too much sometimes.
He talked with us yesterday. He was late showing up for the meeting. He says, I'm sorry, guys, my roommate took my car. 2nd down. Mike's roommate's an old high school buddy of his from up in Syracuse, New York, and they played high school ball together. But Mike Hart today, who was guaranteed victory, 2 touchdowns.
How many of these runs are to the left side?
And how many are bouncing off guys that don't tackle him, and he just keeps those wheels moving. And he's done it, as Bob said, a lot of times up the middle, a lot of times coming this way behind Big Jake Long and Adam Krause and company. And he's rambled for 152 rushing yards. In 11 times, he's rushed for a first down. 2 tight end set here. Mallett back to throw. Ryan's going to swing it out to Mike Hart. Made the first man miss, cuts to the inside, and he might have a first down again.
He does.
To Mike Hart.
Brad, I think what you're seeing, I think this, you're seeing today why this Michigan team was ranked number 5 at the beginning of the season. Offensively, they got one of the best offensive linemen in the nation and a very good offensive line. You got Mike Hart, you got Chad Henne, you got 3 wide receivers that can go up against anybody as a group.
And Massey and Butler, the 2 tight ends, are both good ones. Mike's breathing a little harder than he was earlier, but he's still coming, and here he goes again. And he broke a tackle into the secondary. Another first down run for Mike Hart. He got 12. Let's get another update on the Huskies and the Buckeyes. Here's Matt.
It is a quick series of events that turned around the game. Ohio State and Washington. We told you they blocked a kick and scored a touchdown. Huskies fumbled the kickoff. Buckeyes cashed in again with a Chris Wells touchdown there. 14 points in 3 plays. It's now a 10-point Buckeye lead.
And you see the big one in the SEC. Florida with a 15-point lead on Tennessee. In the swamp.
I tell you what, I think the Washington Huskies are getting into that rarefied air. And when they got up, say, can we play with Ohio State?
Mike Hart can play with anybody. Another 12 or 13-yard run before Zibikowski just kind of twists him out of bounds in front of Charlie Weiss over there on the Notre Dame sideline. Well, Mike is probably making himself some money today, and talking about dirty, sexy money. They're rich, they're ruthless, they're related. Wednesdays this fall, America's wealthiest family will be on the loose, and only one man can keep them out of the headlines. You can't be filthy rich without getting a little dirty. Dirty, sexy money, Wednesdays, starting the 26th of September on ABC.
McGuire's on that show, isn't he?
He's money. And
he's dirt.
You're
sexy. You're
sexy,
cutie.
That's right.
You're it, big boy.
Brandon Miner's going to give Mike Hart a breather. And here's Miner off the left side. Maurice Richardson made the stop for Notre Dame as Michigan chewing up clock, chewing up yardage, chewing up the Notre Dame defense. There's 6 minutes left in the third quarter, and they lead 31-0. If you just joined us, Mike Hart is on his way to a 200-yard day. Ryan Mallett has thrown 2 touchdown passes, and Notre Dame's had all kinds of fumbleitis and negative plays again today, and are just that much closer, 21 minutes away, unless things really turn around from being 0-3. Maurice Crum, the defensive captain, is the guy that's down. We'll check on him when we return to Ann Arbor in a minute.
This presentation of ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Best Buy. For a complete home theater experience, get HD done right at Best Buy. DLP HD TV. DLP is the official ESPN on ABC HD telecast sponsor of college football. Dr. Pepper, with 23 flavors in every Dr. Pepper, there's more to it. And the Nissan Titan, proud presenter of the 2007 Heisman.
Michigan with Brandon Miner on the carry, breaking tackles. He's got a first down run. And now Notre Dame's just plain getting tired of bringing down any ball carrier that Michigan throws at them.
You got to tackle people. I'm sorry. You know, we saw the offensive line. They don't block anybody. Now you're looking at the defense, and they don't tackle anybody. And, you know, I know how hard it is to tackle Mike Hart, because his legs and feet are moving all the time, and he sees a lot of things. But you have got to wrap your arms around guys. You just can't reach out and fake like you're going to tackle him.
Hart back in there now after a quick breather. This is the 9th play of the Michigan drive. And it's Mike Hart left side. And again, down inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. We're down to 5.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. All Michigan today, 31-0 so far. The rushing game of Michigan in high gear this afternoon. 205. Notre Dame, with the sacks included, minus 47.
And if you weren't with us at the beginning of the game, Chad Henne has not played and will not play this week and may not play next week. We don't know, but it's all been the Mike Hart show. Mike Hart, the guy said we guaranteed we're going to win this week, just took this team on his shoulders and is just carrying them.
And Zibikowski holding on for dear life. There's no quitting Zibikowski. He brings him down after Hart got a yard or so. And it's going to bring up a third down for Michigan.
You know, it really, you talk about helping a quarterback, helping Mallett, Reese. I mean, you got a guy that goes in, and we knew, and you said at the beginning, they're going to, run the ball. and allow a brand new quarterback to throw whenever he wants to, or the coaches want him to.
We got a little brace on the leg there.
That's Chad Henne, who started every game since the beginning of his freshman year, and now watching his understudy, the true freshman Ryan Mallett, in his first start, the big 6'7", 250-pounder. Back to throw. Pump fakes, goes to the corner. Man there. Got him. Touchdown, Mario Manningham.
That was an impressive throw there.
Impressive route.
That's his third touchdown pass in his debut. I tell you what, you open up like this on Broadway and things are sold out for a long time. You know what I mean?
Nice protection, and he gets it there quickly. Throws a little off, gets it over, away from the safety, over the corner. Good throw. Best throw of the day.
A 13-yard touchdown. 16th for Mario in his career.
But he doesn't have to carry this team. Michael Hart has been carrying this team. He's gotten some help. Jimmy Clausen on the other side has not gotten much help.
The end of a 79-yard drive. He knew when he let it go that it was going to be a touchdown. Oh boy, having some fun in the big house.
KC
4 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And back to a packed house at Michigan Stadium where it's all Wolverines. Finally. And I'm sure everybody in the stadium is thinking that. Finally. After 4 straight losses by over 30 points. Now they've got 38 and are blanking the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Golden Tate from the 10. Tate, nice sidestep and into the middle, out to the 37-yard line. We talked about the X factor and an update. Well, it's a lot easier to be Ryan Mallett because you've got Mike Hart than it is to be Jimmy Clausen. No turnovers for Mallett, though he did drop a snap from center, and then the centers changed. Morin moved to guard, Krause to center. He's become a lot more comfortable. Grease, you were saying during timeout, you think when they tried that throwback pass to him is where he loosened up.
Yeah, when he threw the ball over to the wide receiver and then the quarterback ran the other way, Mallett, and he threw it back to him and he stumbled. I think he was laughing at himself. I think that's what really loosened him up.
There was a catchable pass by Carlson on a nice throw by Clausen, but it's incomplete. And I know Carlson would like to have that one back. His first race in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship. Points are reset and the drivers are refocused. Now it's a 10-race shootout. NASCAR Nextel Cup Series at New Hampshire on ABC. It's tomorrow. It starts at 1 Eastern with NASCAR Countdown.
Hey, Paul, no, I kind of like that 48 car, but that 24 car.
I like how they use the numbers.
Yeah, 24 car.
That's what we ever seen one.
I like number 20 here today.
Never seen one.
I like the 20 car.
I like
for Michigan.
the 20 car for Michigan too.
Second down, blitz coming, and Allen got about 2 yards and not quite 3 before he's knocked off his pins. Let's check in with Bonnie.
With this game out of hand for Notre Dame, Brad, you think that Charlie Weiss might want to put Demetrius Jones in here and let Jimmy Clausen take a rest, except that, well, Demetrius Jones isn't here. He didn't show up on the team bus. Our sources are telling him he has transferred to Northern Illinois and he's registered for classes there. Charlie Weiss had no idea what was going on and wasn't informed until 2:30 yesterday, but he did tell me before the game he is expecting to talk to Jones sometime tomorrow to find out exactly what's going on.
Yeah, the bus was late taking off because they kept saying, where is he, where is he? And they said to George West, the wide receiver, who's his best friend, where is he? He said, I don't know, I haven't seen him. And they went to his dorm room, and I guess it was empty already. Clausen deep middle, threw it into some coverage. Flags are down in the backfield. I think we're going to have roughing the passer.
Got a late hit on the quarterback.
Well, these guys are so used to hitting, they don't know how to pull off.
And that'll give Notre Dame a first down. And it might move it all the way to midfield. They haven't spent much time in Michigan territory today. Here's the hit coming up, and it's Crable.
Hands to the head.
And Crable got him right in the face mask.
Roughing the passer. Number 2 on the defense.
I mean, that's. And then he throws him on the ground, which is dumb.
That's a good call.
Very good call.
And that will move the ball into Michigan territory. And that's going to be only the second play. This next one that snapped that'll be run in Michigan territory today. How about that,
second
fellas?
Notre Dame offensive play.
And they haven't snapped it yet. If we don't get a penalty to back it up, we're going to be in good shape here.
Harper looking for plays in their territory now?
I'm just trying to give a positive spin on things, Paul. Here's Clausen. And he's going to throw this one away wisely.
That's good. That is very good to get that in your head. Start throwing it away.
Matt Weiner, New York, with an update. Matt.
All right, Brad, Tennessee has tightened things up in the swamp. Tim Tebow hadn't thrown an interception all season long, but the freshman Eric Berry read him like a comic book, dealt with Tebow on the way back for a 95-yard interception return. Gators now have a game on their hands. It's 28-20.
How about that one? That'd be a big comeback for Tennessee after losing to Cal earlier this year. But
Tebow has not experienced having the pressure all on him.
Right. Clausen with pressure on him, as it has been all day. And dropped the ball. Down he goes. Another sack.
Clausen fumbled and recovered
the 8th sack of the day. Notre Dame, you know, it might not get any easier for Notre Dame when you think about it. They're obviously going to be 0-3 unless the sky falls in here.
Got somebody
but
hurt.
Michigan State is a pretty good football team. And then Bob's old club, who can put a lot of points on the board and have the top passer in the Big Ten, UCLA.
At Purdue and UCLA.
That's not easy trips either place.
And then Boston College at home, number 21. Oof. Then they've got what? The next 5 games are at home.
Yeah.
I think their first win is going to be in 2008.
Well, I hope it doesn't get that bad for him.
Teaming on there.
Dan Wenger is down the right guard. You know, a lot's been made this week, too, of Charlie Weiss in the fact that even when he lost a game to USC a couple of years ago, he was awarded with a 10-year contract. So he is under contract for 8 more years, and it's big money. And an 0-2 start in the 3rd season as head coach. And the last guy that started a season 0-3 was by the name of Bob Davie, one of our colleagues now, and that was his final season.
And one of the things that old Charlie's got to tell Mr. Clausen is, son, you got to find that clock in your head. Every quarterback that's worth anything has it. You got to know when to get rid of the ball. Now, I know he's trying to make some things happen, but to stand back there and get yourself killed doesn't help anybody.
Well, they've lost a right guard now. They're starting offensive line. Maurice Crum Jr., who went out limping earlier, and I don't know if he's going to be back. So not only are they getting walloped by Michigan 38-0, but they're losing some people along the way, which is terrible news. Travis Thomas is going to check into the backfield, and it is 3rd down and a mile again. 3rd down and 16.
They're back out of the territory again.
Yeah, I know that. I was going to leave it alone. Carlson in motion. Play action. Clausen's going to go deep. Got a man out there. He trips. It was Golden Tate. Morgan Trent was covering, but I think Tate just sort of tripped on his own back there, trying to get deep.
2-man route, 2 guys going deep down the sidelines. The other 8 guys were in there blocking for him, so he'd have some time to throw it.
So Jeff Price, who's been a busy punter all season long, is a busy punter again today. He'll kick. The 6th punt of the day for Notre Dame. Remember, they faked a punt once earlier and actually picked up a 1st down on the fake punt. This one he hangs up. Matthews is going to take the safe call on a fair catch. Catches it right in his hands at about the 12-yard line as Robert Greasy brings us the Best Buy playbooks coming up shortly is what I was going to say. Why don't we do it, Bob?
Let's go down to let me show you something here. With these 2 receivers to the wide side of the field in the playbook, this one right here just going to go down to the run to the corner. Now watch the one on the outside. We'll see what he does. Let's go ahead and roll it. The guy on the inside goes out, but this guy holds the defensive back up so you can get to the ball to the back side of the corner.
As you said, you can throw over him.
You can throw over him, but not if he's fallen off. If that receiver doesn't hold the defensive back forward, then you can't throw over it.
Mike Hart again on the carry, as he has done so many times today. John Ryan, the outside linebacker, made the stop. And 187 yards for Mike Hart. You know, you just knew when he said, yeah, we're going to win, I guarantee it. My guys are going to follow me. The seniors are going to get the job done. You started thinking if he got rolling early, it would be a 200-yard day. And he's rolling towards 200.
How many times you say he was going to carry the ball?
I said 35 earlier, but he's already carried it 34. Brandon Minor's in to replace him. And here's Minor. He pops it out to the 21-yard line. Crum, who is back in there, made the stop.
You watch Minor run, and then you watch Hart run. And Hart, when he sees a guy coming like that, he'll make a little stutter step, and he'll try to avoid that big hit. Minor, on the other hand, he sees the guy there, Bob. He just said, I'll just take you on.
Yeah.
Mike Hart on his way to passing everybody, including Anthony Thomas, who's atop the list as he's passed Ty Wheatley today into the number 3 spot. And remember, he's now gone 850 career, 850 touches without fumbling the football. Matt Weiner, what do you got for us?
Brad, I've got a nominee for the AT&T ESPN All-America Player of the Week. Wisconsin's P.J. Hill ran it for 168 yards, tied a school record with 5 touchdowns to help the Badgers pull away from the Fighting Paul Maguires. Text VOTE to 87654 on your AT&T wireless phone to cast your vote.
Well, Matt, last week we told you when we were doing Michigan-Oregon that AT&T ESPN Player of the Week was going to go to Dennis Dixon, and by golly, it did. And I'm going to tell you, we got a candidate here, Mike Hart, who's got to be a candidate as Brandon Minor goes down. Mike Hart out right now of the lineup. And fellas, you start thinking ahead. As Mike Hart, we look on, Brandon Minor went to the same high school as Michael Robinson, who was a former Penn State quarterback, and that's the team that's coming in next. And Penn State's coming off a pretty impressive win over Buffalo today. So next week it's Big Ten time.
Start the Big Ten schedule, and that's the thing that Michigan has to play for, trying to win the Big Ten title.
Didn't the Citadel scare the hell out of Wisconsin today? They had them tied 21-21.
You know why? Because they're used to getting up early, and that was an early game.
That's where the advantage was. The Citadel got up at 6:30. Wisconsin was an early game at 11. Wisconsin wasn't awake yet until like after 12 o'clock.
Well, some of these scares that some of these teams are throwing in the Big Ten teams, even though some of them are victories, it's not helping the perception of the Big Ten any, I'll tell you that much.
That's for sure.
Well, the Citadel plays in the same division with Appalachian State. So that just goes to show you.
So now we have 1st and 22. Minor stays in there. Mundros, the fullback, in front of it. And it's Minor out to about the 18-yard line. And we got a new quarterback warming up also on the sideline for Notre Dame.
Justin Brown made the tackle for Notre Dame.
Brandon Minor slow to get up. Maybe just a little bit tangled up with the tackler. And we've played 3 quarters. Matt Phipps, the leprechaun, it hasn't been a good day for you, son. There'll be better days ahead, hopefully. And better days for Jimmy Clausen, but today's not one of them. Michigan 38, Notre Dame nothing.
ESPN on ABC, college football is here!
And Notre Dame banned, and the start of the 4th quarter with their team down, but here's going to be a penalty on Michigan as Mike Massey, the tight end, stumbled out of his stance.
Notre Dame not that far from here. Instead of flying up, they just jumped on the bus and came up.
Like we said, the bus had to wait a little bit while they were trying to find their backup quarterback, who ended up missing.
Yep.
The quarterback that was warming up on the sideline was Evan Sharpley, a junior. And he started the first game of the season against Georgia Tech. So we'll see if Jimmy Clausen's day is done or not. Meanwhile, it's the Michigan offense and Brandon Minor, and that might mean that Mike Hart's day is done. I'm not sure.
He was stopped by Joe Brockington. 3rd down and 20.
So now Michigan 9 out of 13 on their 3rd down conversions today, and they have converted their last 5, but this is the longest one. They would have to try to get all the way out to the 35-yard line. Kind of a lonely day, Jimmy Clausen. His day might be done. His elbows cut open. I'm sure his confidence is a little bit cut open as well. Meanwhile, his freshman counterpart, and these were the number 1 and number 2 ranked quarterbacks in the high school ranks a year ago. Clausen number 1, Mallett number 2. And Michigan's going to get stopped here. They're not going to try anything fancy. And they'll be forced to punt from their own end zone. John Ryan, the outside linebacker, made the stop. So Mesko will come in to kick it away. And they should get good field position this time. And maybe Tom Zibikowski can get something going for him.
They'll be running downhill. Notre Dame has not had good field position all day.
This should be the best spot to start unless Mesko really blasts one, and he has the capability in that leg to do so.
Michigan's short a man again. That's twice they've done this in this game on special teams. That means they'll be working on him for about 4 or 5 hours this week.
Zibikowski's going to get a shot at it from the 44.
This way.
Zibikowski, he ran right into one. Looked like he was going to get a block, and he's upset with himself that he didn't play off that block a little bit better. Looks like it's going to be a new Notre Dame quarterback in the lineup when we come back. ESPN's College Football on ABC presented by Best Buy. It's the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and the Michigan Wolverines here at Michigan Stadium, where it's 38-0 Wolverines. Notre Dame's first start in Michigan territory today with a new quarterback in Sharpley in there at the 47. And he comes up slinging, and he almost threw an interception. Morgan Trent had a crack at it, intended for David Grimes. Sharpley out of Marshall, Michigan, so he's a Michigan product. 9 career games at quarterback. Also a baseball player on the Notre Dame team.
This is 3rd year at Notre Dame. That means this was Charlie Weiss's first year there. This is the first quarterback that he recruited, Evan Sharpley. And Sharpley knows his offense, knows it in and out, whereas Jimmy Clausen is just learning it. So, but Clausen basically just beat Sharpley out for the position.
And now the same thing happens to Sharpley that happened to Clausen so many times today. He got rid of it, but he got hammered in doing so. Let's check in with Bonnie.
Brad, I was talking to Notre Dame quarterbacks coach Ron Paulus, and he was sort of giving me a state of the quarterbacks address. And, you know, Sharpley may have more experience in this offense, but not really much playing experience. He was pretty much mop-up duty last year for Brady Quinn, only threw 2 passes. Then they brought in this guy, Darren Bragg, the number 3, who wasn't even going to play football this year, was on the team the first 2 years. They switched him to receiver. He left and then came back. The good news is, though, they've got a blue chipper by the name of Dane Christ coming in out of Southern California. Great pure passer, so the future's bright at QB.
Yeah, but it ain't going to help us. They get some offensive linemen.
True. Allen stopped by Thompson. Boy, John Thompson's had a huge game at linebacker today. You know, Ron Paulus, who, of course, came in at Notre Dame and was highly touted, much as Jimmy Clausen was. And I remember Bino Cook said, you know, Ron Paulus is going to win more than 1 Heisman Trophy. Jimmy Clausen came in here, announced he'd go to Notre Dame, made the announcement at the College Football Hall of Fame in South Bend, wearing his high school championship rings, and said, we're planning on winning 4 national championships. I think the reality is probably setting in about now. Here's a punt. Matthews. He didn't get anything. Let's go back to Bonnie.
Well, Brad, you know Weiss is going to have some struggles in the office this week, but really all he needs to do is go home to put his football life in perspective. You may have heard about Weiss's daughter, Hannah. She's a special needs child. And Charlie and his wife, Maura, have a foundation that just broke ground this summer on a facility in South Bend that will cater specifically to adults with autism and special needs. And we talked to Charlie about it yesterday. He said, you know, when I go home, we have what we call the separation of church and state. Maura and I have the kids. We've got 2 dogs, 3 horses, and I rank below all of them. But really, he said, Hannah is our priority, and the Weiss family has really worked tirelessly to make a difference in the special needs community.
Yeah, boy, that's nice. First down now, Michigan at the 15-yard line. Brandon Minor getting most of the work here in the late 3rd and early 4th quarters with apparently Mike Hart's day done.
Got to be tremendously frustrating for Charlie Weiss, the offensive guru that came over last year, how much success he had with Brady Quinn the last 2 years, and to start out the first 3 games of 2007 and not even score a touchdown. Offensively, all they've scored is 2 field goals The only touchdown Notre Dame has scored was on a kick return.
Right.
You know, Bob,
interception return.
Interception return.
What they need, what he really is looking at, he'll go back and look at the film and he'll look at things and say, okay, what can I do to get some positive reaction from these guys? Because every time they look at a film, and as you just said, they have not scored a touchdown so far this year on offense. But what he needs to do to go back and say, I got to find some way to get this offense rejuvenated. Just if they score once, it may help turn them around a little bit.
There's a statistic we talked about, 0-3 once in school history, 2001. That was Bob Davies' final season at Notre Dame before joining us as an analyst.
Well, the first thing, the first thing you have to have is an offensive line. You can't do anything and go anywhere without an offensive line.
Minor, broken tackle, first down run, and then some. And out to the 31-yard line. We got a penalty marker on the play. And I think it's going to be probably a face mask. And while we wait for that call, let's check in and get a Texas update with Matt in New York.
All right, Brad, as you know, Central Florida opening up a brand new stadium today. They brought Texas in to christen it. The Golden Knights very much still in the game. This is Kevin Smith, 36 yards, does not get in, but he would on the next snap, his second of the day. 23-17 there. Florida's returned a fumble to make it a 15-point game in the Swamp.
All right, Matt, it was a face mask penalty and giving Michigan added yardage to what was already a first down run by Brandon Minor. And they've got it out to the 37-yard line. We'll take a look from the far end. Reminder, our players of the game coming up a little bit later. At the conclusion, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's General Scholarship Fund. I got my vote in for one guy. I won't tell you who it is, but our director will, I guess.
Yeah, he already did.
On first down is understudy Brandon Minor doing a pretty good job with some tough runs. By the way, Paul.
Yes, sir.
As we say here in our truck and with our team, and oh, by the way, if Mike Hart's day is done, carries, and you want to tell the folks how many carries?
35 and 2.
Somebody predicted he'd carry it.
I got 35. The Notre Dame guy for you. For the Chevy. I knew. You know who it is?
The punter?
No. The guy that ran the fake punt.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was a first down. So let's give it to him. How many first downs have they had? 6. So that was one of them. Let's give it to him.
To Michigan's 23. Now a second down and 7. Minor stood up that time by Dwight Stevenson. Dwight Stevenson Jr. And Bob, you played with his daddy.
Yes, sir. Dwight
One of the great centers ever.
He was. He was one of the best.
It's a woman's world. It's good to have boys. Real story about the lives men live and the lies men tell. Big Shots. Season premiere Thursday, September 27th at 10, 9 Central on ABC. So we got Big Shots, we got Dirty Sexy Money, we got Lion, we got Money, I got everything going on. It's just fine family entertainment for all you 7-year-olds out there. Here's Minor. Oh, nice run, still on his feet. Minor with a stiff arm and a headbutt and a first down run to the 39-yard line. 21-yard pickup for Minor.
Minor didn't have a very good game last week, but this is good for Michigan and their offense because you can't do it all with Mike Hart. He just runs over. Is that Wooden? Bruton.
Ran over Bruton.
Oh. You know what I like? What we're seeing now? Because of all the problems that Michigan had on defense with guys not playing and first-time starters, you're seeing all new players on the offensive line and in the backfield. They get some changes. And the wide receiver, all new guys. And I venture to say when they go to defense, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to start giving these guys some play.
Well, it's great luxury. Jake Long and all those guys have long been gone, and now their backups are doing a nice job opening up some holes for Brandon Minor and company. Talk about this one, 38-0. Other Big Ten games, Wisconsin survives the Citadel. Penn State beat Buffalo. Both put 40-plus on the board, as did Indiana over Akron after a slow start. Illinois crushed Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. It's not good news for Syracuse fans, that's for sure. Michigan State survived Pittsburgh. 17-13, Purdue over Central Michigan.
Oh, Purdue.
Put up 45. And Minnesota beaten by Florida Atlantic. And Iowa State over Iowa. Those are the two upsets, two of the upsets so far today. It doesn't look now like Washington's going to be able to pull another one as Ohio State's got a 20-7 lead.
Howard Schnellenberger with a big win with Florida Atlantic.
You're not kidding.
Carlos Brown was the ball carrier.
So Michigan, after losing 2 games, everybody expected them to win to open the season. And now with a win in hand, go to 1-2. And next week, we'll see Penn State in here. And Penn State's a pretty good football team. Then at Northwestern, Eastern Michigan, Purdue on the 13th, at Illinois, Minnesota. And then, of course, the arch rivals, Michigan State, and the two teams that are really big down there in the bottom.
Yeah, of the year.
If everything continues to go as expected, if those teams should be undefeated when they meet them, those would be huge games in Madison and here.
Michigan this year has their first 4 games at home, and this is the third of the 4 games, and 6 of the first 7 are at home. They have 8 home games this year.
This is certainly going to change the complexion of what everybody thinks of Penn State coming in here next week. Now, had they struggled against Notre Dame, or for heaven's sakes, having lost, but they didn't, everybody'd say, oh boy, it's not going to get any better. Now, you look at it and you go, okay, Mike Hart guaranteed victory. They got victory, not only a victory, they're kicking booty.
But what about
here.
the other side of the ball? What about Michigan giving up all these points in the first 2 games, over 30 points, to Appalachian State and to Oregon? Well, they didn't give it up any to Notre Dame today. Well, that's not saying a lot because Notre Dame hadn't scored on anybody this year.
16th straight run for Michigan. You know, we've seen a lot of surprises already. Obviously, the Michigan first 2 weeks of the year. But you look at it, and some of the surprises. I think the Big East that they're doing so well, again, everybody said, well, it's going to go back down the other way. You know, Florida State, Wake, Virginia Tech all have early losses. Washington has looked better. And Notre Dame and Michigan for the first time ever 0-2 coming into this one today.
Big early surprises in a negative way, Notre Dame and Michigan.
You know, I watched the end of that game. You guys were on a plane last week, the Penn State Notre Dame game. And I'll tell you one thing, Penn State, they've got a tremendous defense. You remember the kid last year?
Leslie?
Yeah, well, remember the kid that played alongside of number 40, Connor? We thought was a better linebacker. This guy is unbelievable. When do you see him this coming week?
He'll be right in the thick of the Butkus thing. Don't worry about that. Look at the smile on Ryan Mallett's face. His first start in a big game, in a must-win for both teams.
And he has not tried to do too much, as I said earlier in my little tip for these 2 quarterbacks.
Hasn't turned it over.
Don't feel like you have to do it all. You know, don't turn the ball over.
He'd take that percentage of touchdowns to completions any day, wouldn't he?
Oh, for sure.
3 out of 7 ain't bad.
Exactly. And they haven't asked him to do too much. They didn't put it all on him. And Clausen, I think, on this other side, they did ask him to do a lot. And he dropped the ball, he fumbled the ball, he took a lot of sacks, and percentages weren't good. But Michigan, with a stronger team and a stronger supporting cast, did not ask Mallett to do that much.
Michigan has turned it over now, though. Notre Dame will have it when we come back.
This presentation of ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Best Buy. For a complete home theater experience, get HD done right at Best Buy. Keystone Light. You can't always be smooth, but your beer should be. Allstate, proud sponsors of college football. Are you in good hands? And Cadillac, introducing the all-new 2008 Cadillac CTS.
Yost Fieldhouse is now Yost Ice Arena. That's captain's practice, by the way, as the official practice hasn't started yet. They built that back in 23 as a field house, and then about 35 years ago it became the Ice Arena. And the Michigan hockey team is always up there in the top ranks in hockey, and they were working out on their own.
Captain's practice means no coaches, just on their own.
Coaches aren't involved yet.
Yeah. It's like everybody going out in the summer and throwing balls together and working the receivers.
Isn't it amazing now that we have just bright sunshine, and it's like God has opened up the sky and smiled on Michigan for the first time all year. Not smiling on the guys that are supposed to be Catholics, so that's not working so good.
As bad as the first 2 games have been for Michigan, this one is just the opposite.
Exactly. Our Pacific Life game summary, as you might expect, it's all good for Michigan and all bad for Notre Dame. Jimmy Clausen's been beaten up today, sacked 8 times. Mike Hart, 187 yards and 2 touchdowns on 35 carries. Ryan Mallett, only 3 completions, but out of the 7 throws, 7 completions, I should say, but 3 are touchdowns today in his starting debut. And there's some positive yardage for James Aldridge, who's not given up for Notre Dame. Got it out to a first down, out to the 38-yard line.
You know, isn't it interesting? You know, we're looking at Michigan, Reese, and they got all their second and third string guys in there. But Notre Dame, they still have their starting offensive line. They don't deserve to come out. They're going to make these guys work.
Florida has added another touchdown and leading Tennessee now by 22 at the Swamp. So the defending national champions got it rolling.
I think they're reloading.
Tell you what, going to be a good game in the ACC tonight down in Atlanta. Boston College and Georgia Tech. Sharpley going deep's got a man out there, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Stevie Brown, coming the other way. Brown with some blockers, weaving to the middle of the field, and he's back into Notre Dame territory, and he stumbled, or he might have taken it to the barn. It's not getting any better for the guys in the Golden Domes, but those winged helmets are some pretty happy campers today. 38-0 Wolverines. At number 25, and we'll keep going all the way to the Rose Bowl to tell you who number 1 is week by week. And it's Jim Patempa on the carry. There's a lot of guys reserved seeing time now for Michigan. Ernie Nevers out of Stanford. Next Saturday, we'll have number 24. We'll go all the way to number 2, the Capital One Bowl in Orlando, and then the Rose Bowl presented by City. It's very first, and that's who we tell you who our blue ribbon panel thinks is the number 1 player.
That's going to be a kind of an interesting thing to follow all year.
Do you know all of them? I know you helped vote on it, but do you know all of them?
No, I don't know.
I don't know. You know, if you don't, you know, but you're not going to tell us.
No, I don't. I really don't.
And he wouldn't tell you.
I know.
Anyway.
I'll tell you some of the guys.
And Notre Dame's got it.
I'll tell you some of the guys I voted for. George Webster, Michigan State. I thought he was a heck of a player.
Because you got sick of him hitting you in your ear hole when he was at Michigan State. Turnover, Purdue. Turnover, Notre Dame will have it when we come back.
You're watching ESPN College Football on ABC.
38 possessions on the season still without an offensive touchdown, including the 12 today. So this will be the 13th possession for Notre Dame. They only have 2.5 minutes to work with. And Aldridge has done much of the work today on the ground. He has a nice gain out to the 44-yard line. Reminder, time permitting after the game, John and Craig and Doug will be in New York and give you the Dell post-game report and give you some of the shockers or near shockers and then some of the ones that were going the way they were supposed to today. This one, I don't know if anybody really knew. Coming in both teams at 0-2, I think depended on maybe where you lived or what you thought. But
it's got to really be frustrating for Charlie Weiss and the Notre Dame offense. And I mean, last week against Penn State, they rolled him out. They did a lot of quick passing, some screens, and got him outside the pocket. Today they tried other things, and it didn't work either.
Almost everything worked today. You know, you might get up tomorrow morning here in Ann Arbor and grab your Sunday paper and a cup of coffee, and it might say something like this. He guaranteed and he delivered 35 times for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nice little delay by Aldridge to wait for his blockers, and that's kind of a weird thing to say because there haven't been too many of them today, but they are getting some positive yardage against some of the Michigan reserve defenders. Today's Chevrolet players of the game. Was there any guess or any doubt that it was going to be that guy, number 20? David Bruton led Notre Dame defensively in the tackle department, but Mike Hart, the captain, one of the 2 offensive captains for Michigan, guaranteed and delivered. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund in those 2 fellas' names. Aldridge, nice second effort, and he gets out. It's going to be a first down at the 36-yard line as we get another update with Matt in New York.
Sports Center update powered by Vizio. Ohio State has forced 3 turnovers in Seattle. Chris Wells up over 130 yards and counting. And the Buckeyes lead that one 20-7. Texas and Central Florida. Kevin Smith has a couple of touchdowns. He's over 100 yards. The rain has gone away. A rainbow has appeared in Orlando. We'll see if it's an omen for the home team.
Uh-oh. That wouldn't be good for the Longhorns, who are in the top 10. Sharply off play action. Throws complete to the fullback, Luke Schmidt. And he's taken out of bounds right about at the first down marker again by Doug Dutch over there on the corner. So it'll be a happier time in Michigan, and Lloyd Carr, who has a national championship and 5 Big Ten titles to his credit, will not have to listen to some of the things that, even though he will tell you he doesn't hear, he knows it's out there. And so this is going to be a happy week.
He's a class guy. He runs a class program. His players go to class. They're character guys. They go to school. They graduate. Very similar to what Joe Paterno does at Penn State.
Sharply takes a shot as he delivers a pass again to his fullback. And that might end up being the final play of the football game. So 3 weeks of frustration for Notre Dame, still without an offensive touchdown. And 2 weeks of frustration followed Michigan around and haunted them. But now on their home field, they're getting a standing ovation. Quite a bit of difference than from a week ago, huh? The Wolverine fans are finally happy as their team routs Notre Dame 38-0. Let's go down to Bonnie.
All right, we got the man who made the guarantee, Mike Hart. What was it like for you to have 187 yards on a day that you pretty much had to make sure your team won?
You know, it's a great feeling. You know, I have to give it to my O-line. You know, they blocked great today. I was getting 10 yards of carry late in the game. You know, they wore down their D-line pretty good. So I have to give them all the credit. And Malik came out here and played a great game, too. You know, when we had to throw the ball, he completed it and got us first downs and moved the ball down the field.
I know how close you are with Ryan. You call him your little brother. When you go and look at the tape of him on Monday, what's going to make you smile the most?
Just that, you know, he came out here, he didn't make many mistakes. He didn't throw any interceptions. You know, that's the big thing. I didn't want him throwing any interceptions because sometimes he wants to score. You know, he wants to throw a touchdown. And he made the right reads today, made the right passes. He was patient, and he let us make the plays.
Defense was all over Notre Dame today. How important were they today in this win?
You know, they did a great job. You know, they got us going early. You know, when they had that stop early on, we were ready to go. You know, there's nothing like the defense getting stops, getting turnovers, making it easiest for us to score touchdowns.
How about this, Brad? 2 huge days, 187 yards today and 188 week 1 against Appalachian State. It'll be interesting to see what he does next. Back to you.
Hey, Bonnie, tell him I predicted 35 carries, 35, 187, and 2. Mike Hart, player of the game today. Once again, final score 38-0 Michigan. For Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Bonnie Bernstein, Brad Nessler saying so long from the big house. Let's send it to John, Craig, and Doug in our New York studios.